Massage.
Wow, very interesting names you have there. Spirit Revival Massage. Wow. So which one am I getting today?
Today we are doing aromatherapy massage.
Okay.
It's hot stone blend.
So what are the health benefits of the aromatherapy?
It relaxes you. It lowers blood pressure. It gives you a good sleep.
Yeah. So we're
having specific areas to help you to concentrate.
I did. The treatment was amazing. It was very relaxing. I loved the aromatherapy and then the heat with the stones added another feel to the massage. And so
Hello, good morning, and welcome aboard to the AM show. My name is Denisia Pomaije. It's Friday, guys, and as always, we wrap up the week by taking a closer look at the story shaping the national conversation. So this morning, we begin with concerns over Ghana's labor market after the National Development Planning Commission warned that the country's economic growth is not creating enough jobs. So while key macroeconomic indicators continue to improve, many young Ghanaians are still struggling to find meaningful employment. So is the economy growing without creating opportunities for the people who need them most? What policy interventions are needed to bridge the gap between growth and jobs? We'll examine that right here on the show. We'll also examine the growing public outrage over the alleged military brutalities in Nkwanta. The 7 accounts of civilians reportedly assaulted during security operations have renewed concerns about accountability within the armed forces. So as calls for investigations intensify, many are asking whether impunity is taking root and whether those responsible will face sanctions. We'll delve into that right here on the show. We'll also discuss a legal battle involving Hanan Abdul Wahab after the expiration of the court order that restricted his travel. With that order now elapsed, what legal avenues remain available to the parties involved? And really, has the matter effectively reached its legal conclusion, or are there still constitutional and procedural options that could be pursued? We'll delve into that also right here on the show. And we turn our attention to the controversial 1-year jail sentence handed to social media activist Camilla. The conviction has sparked a national debate over the balance between enforcing the law and protecting freedom of expression. Was justice served, or does the punishment raise broader concerns about proportionality and the limits of free speech? Joining us this morning to unpack these issues for the News Review are Professor Isaac Boedi. He's Executive Director of the Institute of Economic Research and Public Policy. Also joining us is Andrew Appiah-Dankwa. He's Director of Legal and Constitutional Affairs of the United Party. Daniel Nikwate Titus Glover, former Greater Accra Regional Minister, and Professor Titus Bayo, Member of Parliament for Lambisi and Board Chairman of the Kolebu Teaching Hospital. Well, this is the AM show. Please stay for some news updates. Of course, we know that this show is run by the Ahanta Pele himself, Samuel Kojo, and the ever-beautiful Emefa Akosua Adeti. My name is Denise Apomaide. Welcome aboard to the AM show. The AM News is up next. Welcome back. This is AM News. The death toll from Wednesday night's fatal road crash at Odumasi near Konongo in the Ashanti region has risen to 14 after another body was retrieved from the wreckage, with one more victim still trapped under the accident vehicle nearly 48 hours after the collision. There's more. The death toll of Wednesday night's tragic accident at Odumasi in the Ashanti region has increased to 14 as the body of a male adult has been discovered from the accident scene. One more victim is reported trapped under the accident vehicle almost 24 hours after the accident. Medical officers at the Achim Central Municipal Hospital say 32 victims, including 9 children aged between 7 months and 2 years, have been stabilized as doctors monitored their recovery. 13 more patients have been stabilized at the Stewards Hospital, a private facility in Yakwe, and are out of danger. Kofi Yeboah, an Okada rider who was attracted by the explosion that followed the collision, tells Joy News it took several minutes before the arrival of emergency service providers.
And we were at our station, and we heard explosion, heavy explosion. The car crashed here, and we just rushed here and just saw one bus, one tomato car, and highly flammable petrol tanker involved in the accident. Like, we rushed there and saw some passengers who are in very critical conditions, and we rushed them and take the responsibility to ourselves to rescue them.
Yeboah had an accident at the same spot about a month ago. He's worried this spot has gained notoriety for road traffic accidents.
As for me, this is not the first time. You can just check on my hair, my forehead. You can see there is a mark here. Coming Saturday, it's been 1 month. I got accident from here. This the same place. You can see at your back the hole is here. The same hole can trick you. Here is accident prone. So many accidents have been caused here.
One of the accident victims, 20-year-old Mabel Aguelo, tells Joy News the cargo truck veered off onto the lane of their bus, leading to the accident.
Gas can also by the same. And the got listening na accident to and dry union.
Ntiasi na mo ba se na you overtake ya na na me kwa mu hwana na you overtake
na ne kwa mu ntos kana afa ye kwan no enti ono oba no we minim se we hu ana se we hu enti tam na ye de na bed ra ni lemu no eno no so abai no betam ye.
The Konongo Divisional Commander of the Police Motor Traffic and Transport Division, ASP Frank Asare, says 2 accidents were recorded at the same spot on Wednesday. The situation forced NATMO to mount warning signposts to warn motorists of the dangers on the road.
Police say motorists would rather choose to either overtake wrongly or overspeed. Meanwhile, residents are asking when the abandoned Konongo bypass project could be completed to reduce the carnage on the road.
Now, the National Development Planning Commission has painted a worrying picture of Ghana's labor market, describing the country's economic growth as largely jobless. The commission says its 2022 to 2025 annual progress report shows that although Ghana achieved its economic growth target of 6% during the period, the expansion of the economy failed to generate enough employment opportunities. The report, compiled as part of the Commission's constitutional mandate to assess the impact of government policies on the lives of Ghanaians, points to the underperformance of the industrial sector as a major reason employment growth fell short of expectations, despite strong macroeconomic performance. There's more in the following report.
I said, we at the Commission, we were expecting industry to play a major role in our economic development and to create the jobs we need, the youth need. But the data shows that that didn't work. It didn't work. So the growth we are seeing, 6.0 we are seeing, it's actually a jobless growth. Look at the performance of industry. It actually contracted in 2021, contracted in 2023, and just some slight expansion. The only time that industry did well was in 2024 because of the contribution of gold and the mining and quarry subsector of the economy. But last year, it's only gold that improved a little. All the others in that category or subsector performed poorly. That's the reason why we recorded 2.3. But if this were to grow as expected, then your question, issue of unemployment, would also be affected. Because the more jobs there are in the system, the more these youths will be absorbed to work. But unfortunately, we didn't grow that way.
Well, the government has given Ministry of Health clearance to recruit 16,000 nurses, with a majority expected to be deployed to underserved communities across the country. President John Mahama made the announcement during his Resetting Ghana tour of the Volta region. The president also announced approval for the recruitment of 16,000 newly trained teachers, saying the move forms part of government's efforts to address critical staffing gaps in the education and health sectors. He further indicated that the Big Push infrastructure program has already created an estimated 300,000 direct and indirect jobs. Presidential Affairs correspondent Maxwell Agbagba reports.
President Mahama's Resetting Ghana tour started from Dwapon, where he cut the sword for the construction of a 24-hour market. There, he said government has selected a strategic investor to partner in the revitalization of the Volta Star Textiles Limited, popularly known as Dwapon Textiles, with work expected to begin soon to modernize the factory. The president also said the necessary verification, assessment, and administrative processes relating to compensation for persons affected by the Akosua Dam spillage are being concluded. During an inspection of 1,500 assembly hall for the Peki College of Education, the president announced approval for the recruitment of at least 16,000 newly trained teachers as part of efforts to clear the backlog of graduates from the colleges of education awaiting employment.
I want to congratulate all of you and encourage you to study hard. We're trying to clear the backlog of your seniors who have finished and have not yet been employed. And so we've given clearance for the Ministry of Education to start employing at least 16,000 new teachers. We want to clear the backlog so that when you finish and come, you will not have to mark time before we find jobs for you.
President Mahama also said government has given clearance for the recruitment of 16,000 nurses, majority to be deployed to underserved areas.
Right now, we're giving him clearance to open the portal to absorb 16,000 nurses in 2 batches. The first batch is 8,000, the second batch is 8,000. So that by the time my daughters and sons who are waiting to complete training camp, there will be a shorter queue before they are posted. But the caveat we are giving is most of those that we're employing now, we are sending you to underserved areas. And like Florence Nightingale said, she would not. You see, when I said underserved areas, you were very quiet.
The president also inspected ongoing Big Push roads projects in the region. He said the initiative has created 300,000 direct and indirect jobs.
Aside from that, I'm happy to note, as I go around the country, I look at the sites of the contractors, and you see a lot of young people have gotten work during the construction phase. It is estimated that with the current projects that we're doing, at least 300,000 direct and indirect jobs have been created. Direct are those who are working directly on the projects. Indirect are the food sellers who are selling to them, the quarries that are producing the rock for them, the filling stations that are providing them with the fuel, the cement distributors that are selling cement, the iron rod distributors that are selling iron rods. If you take all that together, we estimate that about 300,000 jobs have been created just because of this big push.
Well, healthcare delivery in Asin-Fosu municipality has received a major boost following the donation of medical supplies and equipment to the Municipal Health Directorate by the Member of Parliament for Asin Central, Nurain Shaibu Mijima. The donation forms part of efforts to improve access to quality healthcare, strengthen the capacity of health facilities, and enhance service delivery across the municipality, with the MP reaffirming his commitment to supporting the health sector and improving the well-being of residents.
The donation comes as a critical intervention to boost healthcare delivery in the Asin-Fosu municipality. The Member of Parliament for Asin Central, Nurain Shaibu Mijima, urged the Municipal Health Directorate to ensure the items are used efficiently to improve healthcare services across the municipality.
This is a wonderful day for the good people of Asin Central. Looking at the health staffs we've provided for the constituent and also giving it to the Health Directorate at least to help them with their health needs. Asin Central is a constituency whereby we need a lot of staffs in regards to health, and the Health Directorate informed me about the things they need in order to help them do their work. So I told myself I'll make sure we provide them the needed items. And today, God being so good, we've been able to deliver the items to them.
He also highlighted ongoing initiatives by his office to improve healthcare infrastructure and service delivery in the area.
We have chip compounds that we are building. Currently, our aim is to build about 10 new chip compounds. 5 are completed, and we are working on additional 5. And looking at what we provided today, I think it can equip all the chip compounds that we've built now. So we are also working on bringing in more hospital health staffs, Charlie, to aid with the nurses and the doctors, their job.
Mr. Mijima further called for collective action for development, sharing his plans to monitor the use of the items.
What I would say is we should all come together, work hard. Now we all vote for development, and then this is what the people want. And the people want development, and I'm ever ready to step in, give them the needed development they want. And I know with God on our side, inshallah, they will get the needed development. Even though we've handed over the items to the Health Directorate, but we're going to give a constant monitoring and make sure that items we've provided to them, they will be used for the work that they have to use it for. So we're not just going to leave it to them and then go home and sleep. We will make sure we monitor it and make sure that each item that's supposed to go to each chip compound will get there. And that's what we are looking at.
The Asin-Fosu Municipal Health Director, Benjamin Amuakon, noted the impact of the intervention.
We are all a living witness to what the Honorable MP has brought. In fact, is beyond, what we were thinking. Looking at the quantum or the number of items that he has brought, but there are a lot, and we hope that the new facilities springing up, the new facilities that the assembly, he himself, they are constructing, and then the old one, they will get their share of this medical equipment that we have received. So we want to say that we, in a way, acknowledge receipt of what the equipment, and we promise to put them into good use for the people of Asin-Fosu municipality and its environment.
From Asin-Fosu, Abigail Lisel Nkoma reports for Joy News.
Let me take you to Israel. October 7, 2023 will forever be etched in the minds of Israelis. A day that started as other days turned bloody when, according to Israeli officials, hundreds of Hamas terrorists invaded Israel while firing thousands of rockets, kidnapping innocent elderly people, mothers with their babies, children, young men and women to the Gaza Strip. As part of an Israeli Foreign Affairs Ministry tour of Israel, Derek Ekosam shares the story of Tamil Leshet, a survivor of the October 7 attack.
It's Saturday, October 7, 2023. Israel is slowly waking up from sleep. Some Israelis are returning home after a rendezvous in town the night before, winding down after a busy week. What primarily should be a restful day turned bizarre. Missiles were seen flying around. Gunshots were heard from the horizon. Revelers fled for safety. Homes were attacked. Israeli officials say hundreds were killed, maimed, kidnapped by Hamas terrorists. But some survived the melee, and Tamir Leshet is one of them. Here's the story.
One car was stopped on the road, and we approached it, and it slowed down, and it signaled me to slow down. And when we pulled up next to him, he rolled down his window and he said, "There are terrorists." Like, he was frightened. He said, "There are terrorists. You need to go, run away now." And as he said it, like we saw from the horizon, we saw vans coming up, motorcycles. I remember the color black. It was it's really engraved in my memory, like the color black, almost like a signal of death, like to run away. And that was the turning point for us, where I as an individual, we realized death is here. It's coming at you.
When he was asked how he's getting his life together after the attack, he praised his friend, a fellow survivor, for making the recovery process easier.
It was weird because I'm not gonna. Am I supposed to go back to work now? And Ron also, he worked with me. We knew each other to work. But my luck was having Yuval, because we experienced such a similar. It was super similar experience for me and Yuval, and super different because he also has a story, our roads were apart, and then we came back, and coming back to reality together. Not a lot of survivors have that privilege, I think, because everything we would encounter the following days, weeks, months, I could share with him, and he would be like, "I completely understand," and he would do the same. Something which it's different from sharing strangers or even close friends, but you weren't there.
Tamir says gunshots and anything black still scare him, but he hopes his recovery will be fast as Israel picks up its pieces. Derek Ekosam, Tel Aviv, Israel.
It's time for some business updates, and the Hunter Pele Samuel Kojo breeze will bring us that right after this breather.
Well, let's do some business updates now. And Ghana's community banking sector has grown significantly over the past 5 decades, with 147 licensed community banks now serving more than 8 million customers and managing assets of about 26 billion Ghana cedis. Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Johnson Esiama, says the sector's growth demonstrates the success of community-based banking in expanding access to financial services and driving economic development in communities across the country. He made the remarks at the 50th anniversary celebration of community banking in Ghana and the official transition from rural and community banks to community banks.
What began with one bank at Nyakrom is today 147 licensed institutions, about 1,000 branches, more than 8 million customers, and an asset base of approximately 26 billion Ghana cedis as of May this year. 26 billion, not million, billion Ghana cedis as of May this year. It is one of the fastest growing segments of our banking industry. And note those numbers carefully. They are not a measure of institutional success. They are a verdict on the original idea.
Now, Joy Business, in partnership with the Super Morning Show, is set to host a high-level dialogue on the future of Ghana's poultry sector on, today, July 17. Now, the forum will bring together key players in the poultry value chain to discuss how to reduce Ghana's dependence on imported chicken and build a competitive local industry. The dialogue will assess the progress made so far, the challenges still holding back local producers, and what must be done to scale beyond the current intervention. Here is head of Joy Business, Nanabein Brown-Addo.
When it comes to poultry, poultry is about our everyday life.
Yeah.
We eat poultry
chicken,
every day.
eggs. Yeah.
So yesterday I was telling somebody that unlike those days when we were young, you needed to wait
till Christmas,
or
a special occasion,
or a funeral to get some chicken to eat. Today, we eat chicken almost every day, and so any discussion about poultry concerns you. And the interesting thing is the fact that Ghana is only producing locally just about 12 to 13% of the poultry products, particularly meat, chicken, that we eat. And that is an issue that's of concern to everybody. And that's why we've had successive government introduce interventions to try and address the issues with poultry meat. Akufo-Addo is just the base upon which we are starting our conversation. But we are not just looking at Akufo-Addo. We believe that we need to learn from what we have done in the past, and so we are looking at the various poultry interventions that have been introduced since 1992. What lessons have we learned? And that is important. We need to learn lessons from our successes and our failures of the past to shape what we'll do in the future.
And that's it for Business Update on the AM News. Back to you, Denicia.
Thank you, Ahanta Pele. Could you breathe?
You're getting a lot of people in my area are saying that they are there. You know, last time you and I.
Yeah, I said I wasn't a hunter.
Exactly. So a lot of people. One of my friends, Marshall Eriku, says, "Please tell her I am there." Yesterday, a friend of mine even sent me, a message on WhatsApp to say that, "Oh, tell her I'm available."
Oh. You don't need to be serious.
No, they are.
But hello to all of you in Ahanta. I'll come and visit you all very soon. Charlie, tell them I'll come and visit them. I have to.
There are even some in Accra.
What say?
Say, I'm just okay. What they are trying to say is that tell the lady we are there for her. We're waiting for her, So Charlie, and you boy so sweet. So that's, if you don't know what we're talking about hunter men.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are probably looking for one, please come to a hunter. That's why we say visit a hunter.
Yes.
Visit a hunter to enjoy our beaches, to enjoy our hospitality, and then get our men.
Thank you, Bray.
But we have beautiful women too.
Yeah.
So if you're a man and you need to marry a fantastic woman, come to a hunter.
Thanks for bringing us business. Well, that's it for the AM News. But don't forget that the AM show is sponsored by Shield Silicone Paints from Azar Group, Syntex Pipes, and Time Herbal Mixture. Now, the World Cup fever is on and everyone is getting excited. Guys, Compi Ghana says the match shouldn't just be on the pitch. You can actually bring the stadium experience home. So, this is the time to buy your crystal clear TVs, soundbars, home theaters, smartphones, laptops, projectors, and more at unbeatable prices. Remember, this isn't just discount sale. It's a chance to win a 100-inch 4K smart TV, some cash, laptops, phones, and many other amazing prizes when you spend 1,000 Ghana cedis or more. So rush to any Compi Ghana showroom or just shop online at compigana.com or just call us 030-275-2020 or WhatsApp 024-314-3143. Compi Ghana Gora season, the ultimate football experience. Now, let me still tell you about the World Cup, right? Because football's biggest tournament is on. And there's no better way to back your team on Betano. Sign up today on Betano and claim a welcome bonus of up to 2,000 Ghana cedis on your first deposit to enjoy the World Cup. Simply create your Betano account, verify your details, make your first deposit, and guys, make we bet. 18 plus only, terms and conditions apply. Gamble responsibly. This has been vetted and approved by the Gaming Commission of Ghana. Let me tell you about Nestor's Homes, because you can own your dream property in one of Teme's fastest growing prime locations today. At Nestor's Homes, we offer beautifully designed Studio 1, 2, 3, and 4-bedroom luxury homes crafted for modern living, comfort, and long-term value. Strategically located at Tema Community 26 is just behind the Palace Mall. Our gated community gives you a serene and secure environment, easy access to major roads and key business areas, close proximity to schools, hospitals, malls, and essential social amenities. So reserve your unit today with just 10% deposit and enjoy flexible payment plans and mortgage options. Call us now on 053-101-4440 or 053-101-4447 to book a viewing, or just visit us at www.nestes.com. Well, this July, Ghana will host global energy leaders and experts at the Ghana International Petroleum Conference GIPCON 2026 on the theme, Building a Resilient Downstream Policy, Innovation and Investment for Growth. His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, President of Ghana, will be the distinguished guest of honor. Speakers include Honorable Dr. John Abdullahi Jinapo, his Minister for Energy and Green Transition, Godwin Eduji Tamaklo, he's CEO of the National Petroleum Authority, Dr. Patrick Ofori, CEO, Chamber of Bulk Oil Distributors, and Dr. Riverson Opon, he's CEO of the Chamber of Oil Marketing Companies. It started yesterday, July 16, and will run today as well. 8 a.m. each day, the venue is Palms Convention Center, La Palm Royal Beach Hotel. The event will be climaxed with the Downstream Awards and Gala Night happening on July 18 at 6 p.m. at Kempinski Gold Coast Hotel, Accra. You can register now at www.gipcon.com or just call us 055-822-3678. Now, the Global Prayer Work Summit 2026. When men pray, heaven responds. Prayer still works, and this is your invitation to experience the power of prayer. Join the Archbishop Nicholas Duncan Williams and other anointed servants of God at the Action Chapel International Prayer Cathedral, Spintex Road. It started from Wednesday, 15 July, and will be ending today, Friday, 17 July. Join the morning service today at 9 a.m., followed by a powerful mega all-night at 10 p.m. Come and expect powerful encounters under the theme Enforcing Victory. This event is free, so don't miss GPWS Accra 2026. Come and enforce your victory through prayer. Prayer still works. Well, that's it for the AM News. Don't forget that for more news, please do log on to myjoyonline.com. Up next is sports. A while later, we'll have a news review. Have a lovely Friday.
Let's do sports now on the AM show. My name is Haruna Mubarak, and it's been 109 days since Akufo-Addo left his role as Black Stars coach, but the issue of his unpaid salary remains unresolved. The Sports Ministry has confirmed that the former Dortmund assistant coach is still owed money by the government and says plans are in place to settle the outstanding amount. Akufo-Addo's second spell in charge ended before the 2026 World Cup, with Carlos Queiroz taking over to lead the Black Stars at the tournament. Sports Minister Kofi-Addo did not disclose the amount owed, but acknowledged that the government is yet to pay Akufo-Addo.
Which that we saw of, we still had some responsibility for him also over a certain period. But
so Akufo-Addo,
Akufo-Addo
remains.
Yeah.
So Akufo-Addo is still owed.
Of course, we still owe him. I can't tell the figures, but we still owe him.
A lot?
Well, for a country like Ghana, and considering the funding that we get for sports, that should be a lot.
So we are talking in excess of $500,000.
It could be. 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 Because if even just 6 months of pay, you put that together, it's quite substantial, plus some other. But we've paid some of the monies, like the winning bonuses that we have. Everything has been cleared. So we don't owe any player, we don't owe any technical person for all the bonuses that were due them during the qualification. And so Coach Akufo-Addo have also benefited from such payments, and any other player or technical official who is supposed to have benefited from that. So it reduced the responsibility in some ways.
So you're hoping that the GFA would have discharged their responsibilities to him as far as paying the,
I believe so.
The 80,000
I believe so. Unfortunately, in the midst of all the many things that we have to manage because of the World Cup. That was not one of the issues that really came up of concern to anybody. And so I believe it's because that was handled.
And when you spoke to him, he didn't give you an indication that...
He didn't give any indication that he was expecting any payment. That has not come.
And all the players have also been settled there.
Yeah,
Now, we are down to the final of the 2026 FIFA World Cup with just 2 teams left chasing football's biggest prize. Over the past month, we've seen 48 teams eliminated, including co-hosts Canada, Mexico, and the United States, as well as traditional powerhouses Brazil and Germany. Now, reigning world champions Argentina and reigning European champions Spain are the only teams standing, with both aiming to lift the trophy in Sunday's final in New Jersey. Some Ghanaians have been sharing their predictions to Joy Sports' Jasmine Levy ahead of the game.
Argentina defeat their historic rival England in the World Cup semifinals. Now we look forward to Sunday, where Argentina will face off against Spain in the 2026 World Cup finals. Here are people's predictions. Who are you supporting in the World Cup finals?
Argentina. And Argentina is doing well. So that's Argentina I'm going to support for now. They have done come back for 3 times and is good. So I'm still going to support him for the final too. And the scoreline is 2-1 for Argentina.
And you're a big Messi fan?
Messi fan, yeah.
No, Spain. I want Spain to win. The reason is Argentina is more racist. They actually don't have any black in their team among them. So actually, I hate racist people who are racism. I hate it. So I'm not supporting them from day one. All the teams that I support from the beginning, they have been eliminated, which is very painful to me. But I want Spain to win the cup.
What's your score prediction for the final?
Well, I'm not good in guessing, but let me try. Either 5-0. I want Spain to score Argentina 5. Yeah. Like, I want them to mess them up. To be honest, I don't like racist people who hate blacks. Like, I'm a black man. I love, and especially we blacks, we love everybody. I don't know others, but to me, I love every race. So when I see people discriminating and, doing all this kind of differences, trying to bring differences among us, I don't like it. It hurts me. That's why I want Argentina to lose.
Argentina, because of Messi, if I may say, football fetish. Football fetish is a king of the football.
I think Spain will win, and Spain will score 2. That is what I see. It's because Spain have a good team. They have a good team, and then that is what I know.
Based on what I've seen so far, I think Spain is going to win. Based on what I've seen so far, the kids are willing. They are willing to work. They are willing to play. They are willing to advance. They are willing to progress. They are willing to possess the football. And in my eyes of football is based on possession. You understand? So if Spain is willing to possess, just like how he has been possessing in his previous matches, I think it's just a better chance of winning over Argentina. That's basically my perception.
What's your score prediction?
2-1 against Argentina.
You see, Argentina took it, Akata. So I prefer taking it back to back is going to be difficult for them to take it. So I prefer they should stay for Spain to take it. But I prefer Spain to take it because they took it as Africa 2010 and it's been for years. So I prefer they should take it.
What's your score prediction?
I prefer 1-0 against Argentina.
Football fans have varying views on who will win this Sunday. Will Argentina or Spain come out victorious? This is Jasmine Levy, Joy Sports.
Before the final on Sunday, England will face France in Saturday's third-place playoff. The Three Lions are still reeling from their semi-final defeat to Argentina, a loss that denied them a place in the final for the first time since 1966. Now, former England striker Michael Owen has strongly criticized manager Thomas Tuchel, saying England handed Argentina the victory through their performance.
Very, very annoyed, very frustrated. I think we gave the game away. I don't think Argentina beat us. I think we gave it them. In the end, they could have won 4-1 or 5-1 or something. They hit the post. But after an hour, we're in total control. We're 1-0 up. All we had to do is watch Spain the night before and see what happens when you're 1-0 up. Keep playing, keep the ball, stay brave, stay confident, just keep the ball. And we just panic and we're scared of losing. And then even our manager makes mistakes, throws on 3 defenders and takes off attacking players. Totally hands the initiative to Argentina. We gave them that game. Our problem was against Mexico. We did exactly the same. We're in total control. We're 2 goals ahead. And we go all negative and we think this is great football. This is brave football, defending our box. It's not. It's not. What Spain did last night is brave football. When you're playing against a great team and you're 1-0 up and you continue to keep the ball under the maximum pressure, going back and dropping back and putting 11 men in your own box and just kicking it as hard as you can and heading it out and whatever, and taking a ball in the face. People think that's brave. It's not. It's quite the opposite. It's quite the opposite. Football isn't about getting, a ball in the nose and getting blood and everyone saying, yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah, look how brave we are. It's not, that's rubbish. That's like, I can get my local pub team to do that. And that's where we lost the tournament, is celebrating beating Mexico the way we did. It was the wrong way. And the problem is, as a player, once that happens, it's in your mind, we won. Everybody thinks we're great, and we did it doing this. Subconsciously, as soon as you go 1-0 up now, what do you think we're going to think? What do you think the players are going to think? And then the manager brings on 3 defenders. What do you think message that sends to Argentina? Harry Kane's been brilliant. He has had a great tournament. This lies squarely on the manager's decisions and our mentality as a nation, because it's not the first time we've done it. We did it in my era. I scored against Brazil in the quarterfinals of the World Cup. They were down to 10 men, like we were against Mexico. And what happened? We didn't get a kick. Brazil played us off the park with 10 men, beat us 2-1. We do it all the time. I scored against Portugal in the quarterfinals of the Euros. Again, what do? Okay, Wayne Rooney gets injured, but we still retreat. We still let other teams in. It's a British mentality thing where we are so scared of losing. We're so fearful of failure that and we got the players. There's nothing wrong with our team. There's nothing wrong with nothing wrong with anything. It's purely mentality.
We can now hear from the former England midfielder Jamie O'Hara, who wants the manager Thomas Tuchel sacked.
Sack him.
Really?
Sack him.
He's only had 1 major tournament.
That's one of the worst decisions I've ever made. It's one of the worst decisions I've ever seen. It's one of the worst decisions I've ever seen. There has to be an inquest into the decisions.
You can't sack someone on 1 decision, can you?
You can sack a manager. We brought him in to get us over the line, to get the job done. We had Gareth Southgate, who was a good manager, got us to a back end of a tournament. And a decision that decision he made last night was way worse than any decision Gareth Southgate ever made. It was an unbelievable decision. We was on top. We just scored. And then we retreated. We had 12% possession after the goal. Sack him. Honestly,
Is it completely down to the manager, though, there? Harry Kane said afterwards, look, the coaches wanted us to get further up the pitch.
They can't. They can't get further up the pitch. Listen, I can sit here and accept if Argentina were better than us. I can accept that. If he brought on Rashford and Saka and they got their noses in front, Argentina, and they just overrun us and Messi done some brilliance, and you go, OK, I can accept that because they're a hell of a team, Argentina, and they have no, never say die attitude. The manager killed us. Anyone who's got anything about him who knows football, you can't go 5 at the back to then not have anyone to get you up the pitch. Because when we won the ball back, all you could do was kick it back to them. So the 4 players in front had no outball. All they could do was go, well, I can't get up the pitch. I can't get there. Jude Bellingham was dead on his feet. Morgan Rogers was dead on his feet. Declan Rice, dead on his feet. Elliot Anderson, Harry Kane, they were dead on their feet. Give them an opportunity. If you're going to play 5 at the back, if you're going to bring on Dan Burn and Konsa, fine, you make that decision. But give us an outball. Give us something where we can go, right, when we win it back, I'm hitting a 70-yard dive to Rashford, I'm hitting a 70-yard dive to Saka, and we try and get up the pitch, and then we can try and move away from our goal. All we did was just invite pressure on, and you're playing Argentina. You're going to score.
Remember, the match for the third place position will come off on Saturday at 9 p.m. That particular match will be live on the Joy Prime channel between England and France. And of course, on Sunday, we've got the final for you at 7 p.m. where Spain come up against defending champions Argentina. That's how we wrap up this sports segment on the AM show. My name is Haruna Mubarak.
I didn't think it would happen to me, but it happened to me.
Ghana's digital economy is booming. Millions of transactions, billions of cities, a future powered by technology. But beneath the convenience lies a growing threat.
Now it's becoming more towards digital fraud.
If we place convenience excessively over security, we run the risk of breaking down the number one currency that we have in that ecosystem, and that is trust.
The Digital Economy Forum is a thought leadership series examining the opportunities, risks, and choices shaping Ghana's economic future. In our maiden edition, we tackle a critical issue, the trust crisis, why fraud is holding back Ghana's digital economy.
We need to have a 360-degree solution.
Join Head of FinTech and Innovation at the Bank of Ghana, Elhanan Oreku-Asare, Economics Professor Godfred Bokpin, CEO of Ghana Association of Banks, John Ewua, Executive Chairman of E-Crime Bureau, Dr. Albert Enchibuesiako, Chief Risk and Compliance Officer at Mobile Money FinTech Limited, Godwin Tamaklu, Deputy Director General in charge of Technical Operations at the Cybersecurity Authority, Stephen Kojo Seshi, and Head of Internal Affairs at Haptel, Ebenezer Before. The Digital Economy Forum, the Trust Crisis, why fraud is holding back Ghana's digital economy. Brought to you in partnership with Haptel. It's happening on Wednesday, July 22nd at 8 p.m. live on Joy News, Joy FM, and across our social media.
Cadbury Hot Chocolate, crafted from cocoa, milk, and sugar. Creamy, chocolatey, frothy goodness, rich taste, so satisfying.
Cadbury goodness, the treats you deserve every day.
Upgrade your print game with Konica Minolta, proudly powered by SkySat Technologies. From all-in-one machines that print, scan, and copy to professional systems and heavy-duty production machines, we deliver unmatched performance. Right now, SkySat has an unbeatable offer. 1 entire year of free servicing on all Konica Minolta machines. That's 12 months of expert maintenance for new and existing customers. Visit our new VIP print center at Pegasus Place, Airport Residential Area for a live demonstration. Call us on 050-164-5180 or 0302-798-829. Again, it's 050-164-5180 or 0302-798-829. SkySat Technologies, performance that delivers every time.
Zuera Mohammed Ibrahima, the Honorable Member of Parliament for the good people of the Salaga South constituency. My constituency in Salaga South, you know how far we've traveled. We traveled this path together, and you know me better. And I know you can go anywhere in this world, thump your chest and say, our Member of Parliament's democracy is not for sale. She's never sold it and she will never sell it.
Through every stage of life, some things simply stay with us. The spirit of never giving up. A throwback to a bygone era. Love was service. The silent statement of love. A forceful gesture that deepens bonds, balancing work and life. Every drop refreshes, every sip hydrates, just as it should. I am awake, one for life. Drink water, drink awake. Supporting the National Cardiothoracic Center. This advert is...
Now let me share my wildlife experience with you at Safari Valley Eco Park. Welcome to Safari Valley Eco Park. Our electric shuttle pulled up, and in no time our tour began. We were surrounded by wildlife from the moment we entered the Eco Park. We were greeted by experienced tour guides who took us through orientation and how to better enjoy the experience. Watch these animals roam freely in their natural habitat undisturbed by our presence. We saw zebras, sable antelope, brown cranes, mara, silky chicken, nyalas, Shetland ponies, and so many animals I just couldn't keep up. Our tour guides taught us so much about the wildlife, their behavior, and how to interact with them. I even fed them. We also went fishing on a man-made canal. Then we took a break to have lunch in this serene environment. All this amazing experience for this price for adults, this price for teenagers. And this for kids. It's a bargain. As the sun began to set, it was time to go back home, but not before dinner by the campfire. It has been a thrill of a lifetime, and I can't wait till my next visit.
Safari Valley Eco Park, bringing you closer to nature.
Another week is here on the greatest of all time show. My name is Giovanni Clip, and tonight we're bringing you talent. Contestant number one, let's bring Baby Car. Let's bring. You did it for you.
Cut. Oh, there is a leakage.
Where's the plumber? For quality and durability, insist on Syntex pipes.
If you want quality, this be where you belong.
Strong, tough, and reliable. Your perfect match to your trusted Syntex pipe. Syntex pipe, it dey carry water, no wahala. Syntex pipe, it dey make water dey flow. Syntex, and you're strong, and you're tough.
Passes, bad referee decisions. Don't let your child's grade suffer a bad match. Ensure a straight win this academic season with curriculum-aligned textbooks and interactive tools from Pegasus Publishing. From preschool to senior high school, we have the exact game plan your kids need to ace their classes. And because it's World Cup season, you get a massive 20% off every single book. Don't drop points. Call 059-50-10175 or dash to Pegasus Publishing in Accra, Newtown, right opposite the Total Energy Station. Free delivery within Accra when you call. Pegasus Publishing, shaping minds, winning futures. Palladium Residences in Achimota isn't just an address, it's the home you truly earned. Secure your place with just a 10% deposit and choose from beautifully designed modern apartments or spacious townhouses built for everyday comfort. This is more than a building. It's a vibrant, curated community with a clubhouse, state-of-the-art gym, and an on-site hotel, all at ABC Junction, minutes from Achimota Mall. Enjoy city energy while retreating to your private sanctuary. Call now to reserve your unit and benefit from limited launch incentives, including priority unit selection, executive pricing, and flexible payment options available. Don't miss the chance to pick the best homes. Book your private site visit today. Call 050-9823-424. Palladium Residences. Live smart, invest better.
Eye bibi kutuwa bi na den sakraya ba. Etoda a ehya free baby out. Ohwepa enye dede na emom eyedin bre a obiara ani nwo
Suban pasha asiefi meso ne woso wofie.
Good conduct, great life is brought to you by
Indomie.
Tastes great.
More Kivo inside. Kivo Gary Soaking Mix. A taste of Ghana.
Upgrade your print game with Konica Minolta, proudly powered by SkySat Technologies. From all-in-one machines that print, scan, and copy to professional systems and heavy-duty production machines, we deliver unmatched performance. Right now, SkySat has an unbeatable offer. 1 entire year of free servicing on all Konica Minolta machines. That's 12 months of expert maintenance for new and existing customers. Visit our new VIP print center at Pegasus Place, Airport Residential Area for a live demonstration. Call us on 050-164-5180 or 0302-798-829. Again, it's 050-164-5180 or 0302-798-829. SkySat Technologies. Performance that delivers every time. Passes, bad referee decisions. Don't let your child's grade suffer a bad match. Ensure a straight win this academic season with curriculum-aligned textbooks and interactive tools from Pegasus Publishing. From preschool to senior high school, we have the exact game plan your kids need to ace their classes. And because it's World Cup season, you get a massive 20% off every single book. Don't drop points. Call 059-50-10175 or dash to Pegasus Publishing in Accra, Newtown, right opposite the Total Energy Station. Free delivery within Accra when you call. Pegasus Publishing, shaping minds, winning futures.
Hi, now let me share my wildlife experience with you at Safari Valley Eco Park.
Welcome to Safari Valley Eco Park.
Our electric shuttle pulled up, and in no time, our tour began. We were surrounded by wildlife from the moment we entered the eco park. We were greeted by experienced tour guides who took us through orientation and how to better enjoy the experience. Watch these animals roam freely in their natural habitat, undisturbed by our presence. We saw zebras, sable antelope, brown crane, mara, silky chicken, nyalas, Shetland ponies, and so many animals I just couldn't keep up. Our tour guides taught us so much about the wildlife, their behavior, and how to interact with them. I even fed them. We also went fishing on a man-made canal. Then we took a break to have lunch in this serene environment. all this amazing experience for this price for adults? This price for teenagers. It's a bargain. As the sun began to set, it was time to go back home, but not before dinner by the campfire. It has been a thrill of a lifetime, and I can't wait till my next visit.
Safari Valley Eco Park, bringing you closer to nature.
Welcome to Sulas Enterprise, the shop that deals in industrial machinery such as generators, rice millers, water pumps, compressors, and mowers. From the smallest to the largest capacity, at Sulas Enterprise, we give you nothing but the best from the best brands such as Honda and Perkins. When it comes to our generators, we also sell mowers coming from brands like Honda, Briggs and Straton, and Oleuma. And when it comes to our water pumps, we offer you brands like Lily, and Pedrolo water pumps. We also sell rice millers for all capacities. We are located at Spintex Kakalika Plaza. Also, find our various locations as displayed on screen, or call us on the following numbers: 0243-839-463 or 0554-154-416 or 0240-541-493.
Sulas Enterprise, where quality meets affordability.
Through every stage of life,
Let's go.
some things simply stay with us. The spirit of never giving up. A throwback to a bygone era. Love was service. The silent statement of love. A thoughtful gesture that deepens bonds, balancing work and life. Every drop refreshes, every sip hydrates, just as it should. I am awake, one for life. Drink water, drink awake. Supporting the National Cardiothoracic Center. This advert is
Palladium Residences in Achimota isn't just an address, it's the home you truly earned. Secure your place with just a 10% deposit and choose from beautifully designed modern apartments or spacious townhouses built for everyday comfort. This is more than a building. It's a vibrant, curated community with a clubhouse, state-of-the-art gym, and an on-site hotel, all at ABC Junction, minutes from Achimota Mall. Enjoy city energy while retreating to your private sanctuary. Call now to reserve your unit and benefit from limited launch incentives, including priority unit selection, executive pricing, and flexible payment options available. Don't miss the chance to pick the best homes. Book your private site visit today. Call 050-9823-424. Palladium Residences. Live smart, invest better.
Without journalists. Imagine a world without the media. Life is full full of issues and stories about people, communities, and governments. Stories that have to be told by well-trained journalists. That's why you can't imagine news without Joy News.
Hello there. It's a Friday. Who's excited like me? I'm very excited. The week is coming to a nice close, and let's wrap the week with a lot of stories that have been happening. And before that, the Ahanta Pele is by the wall. Will bring us what's happening in front of the newspapers before we get to engage our panelists. But as well, you have a big conversation coming up later today, Kojo.
That's about poultry, right? Now we have to get it such that all of us would have the taste to buy local poultry. How do we get it done? Because we are creating jobs for other people.
Yeah.
The way we import poultry from other countries are creating jobs for their people, and we are just what? So we want to look at how we can change that paradigm. But Emefa,
yeah.
Otikpa.
Excellent.
Otikpa.
Onoyabuzi.
Do you know Mandem Yopik?
Mandem Yopik, yes. He's one of my favorites. He's one of my favorite artists.
He has a new song.
He has a new song.
In that song, I say, Otikpa. He's asking a girl if Otikpa. I think Otikpa is like, how are you?
Wow. Is he from, is what?
No, he's a Seshi.
Okay.
A Seshi guy.
Okay, he's quite a creative guy.
Yes. And at the point, the girl says, Mentekpa or something like that. He says, okay, if me Monska, will you let me call you tonight?
Try it.
But what is interesting about it is Otikpa.
I will look for it.
Otikpa.
I like him, so I think
so please, Otikpa.
Otikpa.
Yes. Okay. Now let's start with free press. There's a big story here. Remember, a lot of people have said judges take bribes, right? But usually it's about the evidence. And us did some work in the past, but we thought that one purged the judiciary of that. But today we have a big person from the judiciary telling us that he will not be one of those people who say that there are no bribery in the judiciary. There is. And then he says, stop bribing judges in the judiciary. That's who, by who? Justice Yoni Kolendi.
One of my favorites.
Yeah, I mean, I'm told he's a very brilliant judge.
Absolutely.
So he's the one speaking here. Now, General Legal Counsel has approved 19 accredited law faculties. So you have to check and let's see who are, which faculties are those. Okay. Remember the new...
So that's been a while now. I don't know why the...
But let's refresh the memory of people. Now, 440 modern housing units for the military is there. Photocopying Ghana card prohibited for transactions. So if you go to the bank, no bank should take your Ghana card to go and photocopy. They should get into the system and verify you.
Take your biometric.
Yes, exactly. So those are the stories on the Free Press. Let's do the Daily Guide. Court of Appeal overturns 500,000 cedis damages against Sami Jemfi. That story is also there. You can get details on page 3. Protect Jonah Capital staff in Nigeria, group to Mahama. So, Emefa, this has been coming up recently, right? Now, a group is calling on President Mahama to protect Jonah Capital's interest in Nigeria. You remember that his investment in Nigeria, where a state authority sort of said, well, the agreement has elapsed, and therefore they went into the estate to take the lands that have not been developed. That has been coming up. They say President Mahama should intervene. TikToker, okay, Emefa, this is a big story.
Yes.
TikToker jailed over Mahama 32 cows claim, and she's been jailed for 1 year. A lot of people have been talking about it. It's on your table this morning, so you get into details. But the story is on page 3 of this paper. Parliament serving party interest. Atuguba says, that is the former justice of the Supreme Court there. 12 perished in Gori Konongo crash. Yesterday morning, we brought you the story on the AM show. Court strikes out AG's request to halt Hanan's UK travel. That's also there. Let's do the Ghanaian publisher now. BOG validates Baomia's gold reforms, upon Nkrumah says. So when the BOG governor spoke about how gold has been helping the economy, upon Nkrumah says, well, yeah, he's validating the idea that former Vice President Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia brought on board. That story is on page 3. TUC demands withdrawal of tribunal's bail. The story is on page 3. Sami Jemfi wins 500,000 defamation appeal. Court strikes out AG's application on Hanan's travel. No order to revoke. TikToker jailed 1 year for insulting Mahama. The custodian, TikToker jailed 1 year for offensive conduct against Mahama. The lawyers will be debating this morning. Bawumia's gold reforms stabilize city, BOG confirms in response to Upon Nkrumah's questions. So that's why Upon Nkrumah was angry that they didn't allow the media to cover this. Okay, it was not anger. It was only protesting against that decision not to allow the media to cover it, because then we would have heard from the BOG governor himself on the answers that he has to those questions. TUC calls for withdrawal of tribunal's bail. That story is also there. Gexim team up to boost Ghana's export growth agenda. Daily Gist. TikToker jailed 1 year over linking Mahama to 32 cows buried for 2024 victory. NDC blows 11 billion on clearing new expressway. That's the Daily Gist reporting there. But the government is reporting that this money has not been touched. It's still in the special purpose vehicle account that they created for the Accra-Kumasi Expressway. Lawyer distances in court accountant from EOCO 55 million probe. Hey, okay, interesting. Upon Nkrumah exposes BOG 10.3 billion forex deal. Afeyo Markin, Ayine, fight over public tribunal bail. And Daily Graphic boost for local refineries. Receive 1 million barrels Jubilee crude allocation. So that story is also there. Cocoa Board settles 162 million Ghana cedis cocoa bills arrears. Group demands government intervention on Jonah Capital attack. Well, Emefa, because they've already started, let me hand it over to you so you can. And that's what I shall say. Because I wanted to give details of this, but actually, discussion in Power, I shall say that into them jar.
Out here, Nalandia.
And I'm most more required is all them jar. I don't put a sackam.
How you wait about?
Okay. Now, government is saying that they've allocated 1 million barrels from the Jubilee oil field for local refineries. So out of whatever we get, 1 million barrels will be for local refineries to work on. That's a good news there. 11 billion Ghana Cedis Project funds still in BOG account. Controlling Accountant General Department clarifies there. And modernized chiefs and cases education as attaining to judiciary. Okay, so that says the story there. And I think that, look, because of time, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, let's leave it here, yeah?
That's fine.
And hand it over to
you. Have a lot of talking to do a bit later, but just quickly, if you're looking to take your pre-bar course, here are some of the accredited universities, Kojo, as you've been asking. UG, of course, KNUST, UCC, UDS, University of Business and Integrated Development Studies, you were teaching me here, UPSA, GIMPA, Shese, Central, Mount Crest, Lancaster, among others. So you have a wide range to choose from. But before we start the conversation, here's how the weather is looking today. Well, so that's the weather today. Be mindful. Let's get into the conversations. So we're joined by Professor Isaac Boadi. He's Executive Director of the Institute of Economic Research and Public Policy. Andrew Appiah-Dankwa is Director of Legal and Constitutional Affairs of the United Party. And Daniel Nikwate Titus Glover is former Greater Accra Regional Minister. Professor Titus Bayo is Member of Parliament for Lumbasi and Board Chairman for the Kolebu Teaching Hospital. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me in studio this morning. We have a lot to discuss. Prof, you didn't have enough sleep. How many hours of sleep did you have?
Maybe less than 4 or so, in the interest of the nation.
Yeah.
Mother Ghana.
Okay.
Thanks to the antics and whatever filibustering of the minority leader and his cohorts. Yeah.
You guys want to finally agree that he's quite a titan. He kept you all up.
Well, we had to prove that and stay and serve the nation. It's unfortunate after doing all that, they work out when it mattered most. No, you stay, the purpose of democracy is to stay and make your voice heard.
Yes.
We're going through clause by clause consideration.
And that's a lot of work.
Yes, a lot of work. And they could have stayed and then joined to Adeti to shape this to a way that is accepted. But it's unfortunate they left when it mattered most.
Okay.
But we had to do what was important.
Well, we'll talk about the research that is talking about how we have hit our GDP at a very high, good peak, but is also not translating into employment for the very youthful population of this country. But let's talk about, just briefly, I want your comment on the president's nomination of 3 persons for appointments to the Supreme Court. The nominees are Court of Appeal Justices Sophia Benasco Asa and Amako Asante, as well as Tony Forson. As I was a lawyer, you probably have played around these people for a while in your legal practice. Does the nomination surprise you, impress you, shock you in any way?
So let me wish your lovely viewers a good one. Wish yourself a good one. It's been a while since we met on the show. Always a pleasure to meet my big brother, Honorable Nikwate Titus Glover, my friend, Professor, the two professors, that was my friends, always a pleasure. I think as in my short response to this question is to consider from two angles. For me, I don't think the issue is about the competence of the people being appointed. As in, you have two justices of the Court of Appeal, you have the former president of the Ghana Bar Association. So I do not think that the issue here is about their competence. These are high-standing legal brains. So for me, that isn't the issue. The issue is whether or not it does not amount to a packing of the Supreme Court. I think that's where I want to cite.
Matters to you.
Yeah, I want to cite the conversation, and as in terms of how many Supreme Court justices we have now, and whether or not there are any that are retiring. Probably there are some that are retiring, and in the essence of the appointment is to replace them. I do not know. But I think for me that's where we ought to cite the conversation, because about 2 years ago we had a very serious conversation about whether or not the former president was packing the Supreme Court. And I think in the spirit of consistency and principle, we ought to have that conversation also. And see, but so for me, that's where I want to cite the discussion. But when it comes to their competence, that is certainly not in doubt. These are titans of the law, and for me, I think that in very different circumstances, there will be no discussion as to the necessity of their appointment. But we ought to have that conversation.
Okay.
Whether or not it does not amount to a package, especially when just last year there were about 7 nominations onto the Supreme Court.
Plus this 3 now.
So that's 10, you understand? So let's have that conversation on that angle and see whether, and probably find a way of limiting powers there, whether or not we should have a constitution that caps the
number of
people.
Is this though? There's supposed to be not more than, but they haven't given a specific.
So no, in Ghana, I don't think there's a cap.
The Supreme Court, I can check.
Yeah, you can check, but I don't think there's a cap. So
I'm going to indulge Prof a bit because he has to leave us quite early, and
I'm interested in this.
Yeah, of course.
Some teaser.
Yeah. Of course, we're gonna go. I'm gonna go to you, but I just want you to know that when we go to the other matters, I'm going to stay with Prof before he leaves. But let me take your comments on that.
Indeed.
F1.
I'm just speaking in a language. My part is from the Volta region, so when I see my people,
Emefa is speaking slang. Where I see slangs there,
Oh no!
Good morning to the viewers. Emefa council name, titles, and I love listening to Professor Bodhi when he's talking, and I'm clinched because he simplifies the finance, the way, and this is my first time meeting him physically.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh, you're here mostly on Monday.
Yeah. And I'm not, so it's a pleasure meeting you,
Prof.
And my namesake. I think that the appointment of the two to the Supreme Court is apt, and for me, it's all about their competencies and their merit. Because for you to rise up to that level, to the bench, I think that is something that we need to applaud.
Yeah.
And to make sure that the practice of the judiciary, where we want to make sure that the rule of law is really entrenched in our democracy, is really upheld. Unfortunately, I'm not enthused about what they are doing there. My friends are doing, keeping the vigil on this tribunal matter. We all have fond memories. Those of us who grew up in the revolution, we saw how they use as a tool to do all kinds of funny things. But hey, we'll be watching as to whether this tribunal is really going to work towards proper enhancement of justice in this country. Because if you have the magistrate court, you have the circuit court, you have district court, you have high court, appeal court, all the way to the Supreme Court, where you could have even empowered. Now that the judicial, what do you call it, the legal training is being expanded. Fortunately, some of us are going to the pre-bar, you know.
Oh, congrats.
And we want to learn. And you have to do this kangaroo thing, you want to bring it back. Ghanaians are watching. But you know, history has taught us something. Council started the statement. I remember in September 2023, then Mr. Mahama, now the president of our republic, he met the NDC lawyers at a forum in Ho, where he used all kinds of aspersions, all kinds of names to describe the Supreme Court. That President Akufo-Addo was packing the Supreme Court with favorites of the NPP government at the time, so that they can make judgment in favor of the executive at the time. To the extent that he used a name called the Unanimous FC, because most of the cases that goes to the courts, they win in favor of the state. So at the time when Mr. President was making all those commentaries, he didn't know that one day he will have the opportunity to appoint people into the bench. He knew very well that people are appointed to the bench based on merit, based on the experiences. But today, hey, vengeance is in a wound of time. Today, these honest people who have distinguished themselves in their legal practice, I don't want us to use those quotes that President Mahama then used to describe those appointments that President Akufo-Addo was making. I will not go there. But you must learn some of his commentaries the way he passes, because some of the things that he said in the past are hitting me on the face.
Okay.
And today, these innocent people who have distinguished themselves in the legal profession, a very jealous profession, I can tell you. Emefa, you are LLB graduate. And we, the small one, we are doing one Anna. It's a very jealous profession. So kudos to these appointees and wish them well. And they will come and help in the jurisprudence of the legal profession, and to make sure that we hold on to the rule of law. Thank you very much.
Let me go to the two professors. I think they specialize in simplifying things. We all recall Prof in also simplifying what the health sector looks, right? I think it is with the professors. I definitely will become a professor. But Prof, let me hear you.
Good morning to my colleagues. My name, and I haven't seen council for a while.
He's gone underground.
But it's a joy seeing them and Prof here. To say that I would send congratulatory messages to the nominees and to their families. This is usually a climax of one's professional achievement in the on the bench, and it's what many people there aspire to. So if they have been nominated, we congratulate them. We look forward to them coming before Parliament, going through vetting, and we expect nothing but proper scrutiny at the vetting, and hopefully, if they are successful, they are appointed. And also add to the fact that His Excellency's focus on excellence and diligence and selecting people based on merit should be praised. And as you can see, these are people of impeccable character at the bench, and no one has questioned that so far. And if you read their background, especially even the one who is just coming from the bar, was a president of the Bar Association in the past, distinguished legal person. And we celebrate all of them and celebrate His Excellency for looking out for this. I think what still remains to be discussed is whether as a nation we still want to leave this composition of the Supreme Court open. Because of course, when the former president nominated, I think 5 people close to exit, we were all worried. And I think that if the legal brains should look at placing a cap on this at some point, it may be helpful. Constitutional Review Committee report is under consideration. I hope that something comes out on that,
And if it's not an entrenched clause, it should be something that we can easily pass in Parliament. If it's entrenched and we have to go to a referendum, that makes it even more difficult. But I do hope that we'll look at it. But some of the argument I've heard from the lawyers is that the scope of work of our Supreme Court is also quite huge. And if it were possible to restrict it, then we can also restrict the numbers. I'm not a lawyer, I'm surrounded by lawyers here. But if you look at Supreme Courts like the US, that they have a fixed number, they are also limited in what they do. And not all cases rise all the way to the Supreme Court. A lot of cases are dismissed at the level of the appeals court and don't find their way. And so they are limited exactly to a few constitutional matters. But in our case, almost every case, when it travels a normal course, we end up at the Supreme Court. If we are going to limit them strictly to constitutional interpretation and other issues and limit their scope, then we can limit the number. If the number will have to be that huge and we have to constitute them for different functions, then it may be justified. But I leave that to the legal brains to look at. But I will congratulate them on their nomination and congratulate His Excellency for selecting people of this character. I'm sure, I don't know if we will discuss the tribunal, but just to say that for us who stayed back to pass this bill, if you look at the memorandum of the bill, I'm not sure what the fear is. Maybe I was just asking Senior, my name, whether we should have named it differently, because it looks like the name.
The name is what is
it invokes fear. Okay. It invokes some kind of memories that people are not too comfortable with. But if you look at it, this system fundamentally is subject to the Judicial Council. The previous tribunal system wasn't. And it terminates at the regional and district level. We don't have community tribunals in this current one. Yeah. Maybe at the appropriate time, we'll look at the details and we'll realize that it is not bad at all.
In its entirety.
No, it is covering a legal, what they call a lacuna in the law, and also the fact that it is a provision of the Constitution. The argument of our opponent is that the Constitution is being revised and the review committee is recommending that that aspect should be changed. How can we build a nation based on something that may happen, that has not happened? When there's a clear, so when we get there and it's of the wisdom of the...
You have lost enough sleep over it. Take a moment to
So that's what I was saying. Yeah. I want to discuss it more, but just that I think in principle what we passed yesterday, or this dawn, was a good law, and it fills a vacuum and plays a role in our legal system. Thank you.
Well, Prof, so I'm sure you've also cited this, but just to maybe help you situate your responses, a lawyer was just drawing our attention to the fact that it doesn't have a cap. Yeah. It's true. If you look at the provisions in Article 138, it tells you the composition of it. It only tells you what it cannot be minimum, but allows it as many as possible as it may be required. Who determines that requisition? We don't know. But these three have been nominated already. How do you feel about it?
Well, when I heard that news, I think from your portal, was happy for them that President Mohammed nominated 3 to Supreme Court bench. If you check the background, just as my colleagues earlier on alluded, impeccable records of these individuals, to climb all the way to be a judge, and even at that level, it's not an easy task. We know in our profession, for someone to even have a doctorate, to be a professor, to be a lecturer, it's not an easy task. So for them to be called, for me, it's a welcome news, and I wish them well. The president on his part also, per the Article 144, allows him to appoint. And the president appoints and disappoints. That is basically his prerogative powers that he has. So if we hear today that some people have been appointed, well, it's a good news for these individuals. I don't know the composition because our lawyers will educate us more, whether we should have an odd number or an even number, because the 3 will make up to 10. And I don't know what the composition...
Usually the composition is an odd number, lawyer, is an odd number.
So we have 10 now?
No.
Now we have 10. No.
We go up to 21.
at a time.
Yeah, so it's fine. I don't know the composition.
Okay.
But which the work. But the other thing is that if you go through the rationale for these appointments, I mean, ordinarily, you can't ask the president to provide reasons why these individuals have been appointed. We don't have that right. But it sometimes raises questions as to what my prof also said. Is it about the speed, improve the speed at the Supreme Court, or the quality of justice that we channel there? So, for me, I don't know the rationale, and I don't want the president to come and tell me why.
Are you sure? If he decides to want to you'll be happy.
I cannot question. But sometimes some of this, especially the critical period we find ourselves, we need to also let the public also know the rationale for these appointments. It helps clear all the doubts.
Okay, let's get to matters arising. So the National Development Planning Commission has delivered a very sobering reality that our economy, of course, is improved by 6%. But the average Ghanaian or the very youthful Ghanaian, when they're looking for a job, we cannot measure that improvement in the economy by the real test, which is employment. Where's the disconnect, if there's any that exists? And my case in point will be some of the articles or some of your deliveries, Prof, that you have addressed over the period, especially this year. You have drawn our attention to some of the promises that this current government has not honored, especially in their manifesto. And we drew our attention to the women's development. You've talked about Ejimera. You've talked about some of the promises that you believe that the Ghanaian people or the youthful Ghanaian believed in the promises, which is the reason why they voted for the NDC in 2024. The National Planning Development Committee has also actually dare say that all of these gains are nice, but the reality check is that we can't find it on the CVs of the young people. Where's the disconnect?
Yeah, let's find out the National Development Planning Committee. It's a government agency.
The National Planning, if it's the same National Planning Development Commission, then yes.
Just
if it's the same.
We need to have this background before we even have some conversations. In our country, two major problems we have, unemployment, poverty. And we all understand and we know major issues that we have in our economy today, the youth unemployment and poverty. If we're able to address these challenges, I'm sure we can go to sleep all the time. But today, these are the realities that we have in our economy. They use the word jobless economy. You go through their reports.
Yes.
Jobless economy. And for an economy to be described as a jobless economy, often certain parameters will occur. One, when your GDP grows, when your inflation declines, you improve on your exchange rates, and then you have an investment, your investment increases. Then the financial markets are also performing well. I've given you about 4 or 5 indicators. I will tell you, we have a mental picture of a jobless economy. When your GDP grows, when your inflation declines or takes a nosedive, when you improve in exchange rate, then you have your investment also increases, as well as your financial market are performing well. Without a corresponding or appropriate, relationship with increases in employment, you can describe your economy in that manner. And from the figures you even mentioned, the economy grows, overall GDP, to 6% in 2025, with non-oil growing at 7%. Quarterly also giving you between 5 and 6. Yet, we complain that jobs, we have issues with our youth being unemployed. And this statement surfaced by this Thompson
Yeah, Nemo Thompson.
Yeah, when he addressed the business roundtable in Accra. And in that, he described Ghana's growth model, that a Ghana's growth model needs a 3D measurement assessment, a framework, that our growth model needs a 3D assessment framework, meaning development of our GDP or the growth of our GDP, which is said, if the growth is not giving you job or creating jobs or wage growth in wages, then we have a problem. This followed the report by the national, the 2025 National Annual Progress Report, which he presented. And in that report, he praised the administration for a huge performance on the micro front, but then flagged out key major issues about youth unemployment, about issues on difficulties in implementing major of the flagship program, which he mentioned. And Emefa, let's give to this administration when it comes to the macroeconomic conditions and variables, even improved. We have seen an improvement, and we need to give to this administration, regardless of our challenges we have with the numbers that we have produced. Because today, they are in the government. Why can't we give to that administration? So we have done well on macro fronts. But then we must also know that the macroeconomic recovery, it might not be the same as inclusive recovery. Might not
What's
be
the difference?
If your economy is growing and is not producing productive or sufficient employment, you then widen inequalities. You widen. And then you have issues, people having jobs. So my issue is that you can grow in terms of your numbers. You can grow in terms of all the indicators. But once they are not translating into employment, that's the bottom line. Then we hear people say, well, we don't have jobs. We don't have. And this whole report will corroborate with our findings with it. And when we launched our performance tracker on Monday, we presented a very, very credible, important report. And I'm sure our administration must have a copy. We gave this administration 4.9%. We used the various indicators the same administration produced. Where did we get the report from? We got a report from the same Ministry of Finance, Bank of Ghana, Ghana Statistical Service. Then we went back into the promises of this administration before they took over this administration. We chanced on 201 manifesto promises. Then out of these promises, some were multi-year, meaning that you cannot assess those promises within 1 year. Mm-hmm. Our focus was to assess key manifesto promises within the 1 year brackets. Mm-hmm. So we chanced on 29 that fell within 1 year. So we decided
the promise that came with specific timelines.
Yes. So we are even advising would-be administrators that when they are giving promises, they should add timelines, add costs. So when we assess them, we'll be fair with assessment. Mm. So those with timelines that fell within 1 year were assessed.
Okay.
We gave our methodology, everything correct. We realized that the strength of the administration focused on the microeconomic indicators. In fact, performance on microphone, super. Inflation, reserves improvements, exchange rate, tax reforms scored huge marks. But if you deduct 9 out of 10, 4.9 out of 10, it gives you 5.2.
5, yeah.
5.1. So my challenge or my issue is that the administration should even focus on these areas that we mentioned.
Which you believe would then score?
Would then improve going forward. So when we put numbers there, people should not be all the time hitting and chastising, taking, but find out what you can do to improve the score.
Could you let me in a bit? Could these two coexist, where your attempt to improve the macroeconomics while creating jobs or while delivering on the promises? Could they coexist?
Well, every action you take in managing the system, the economy, obviously, you have, a trade-off. But you often need to minimize the negative part of that trade-off you have. So, administration tells you we will create jobs. So on infrastructure, if we check where they scored those low marks on infrastructure, administration spends within 2025 0.9% of your GDP, as against 2.9 of previous year, that's 2024. That should tell you the amount they spend on infrastructure, roads, hospitals, schools. When these things are not well improved, it will have a problem. Even the indicators that we mentioned, anytime your economic activities have been improved, and it's as a result of just one service, the service sector, you will not have a productive economy. And we've said this several times. On the issue of industry and manufacturing, where this administration had issues in the year under review, 2025, our analysis focused on the 2025 only. We recorded 0 factories, new factories created. Because in their promise, the 201 we mentioned, there will be cocoa factory, tomato factory. All these things that is stated will not be delivered. So I mentioned about 2 things here. We talked about government commitments, the governance commitments. We talked about the delivery. So if you look at all these indicators we mentioned, the focus should not be only on, you can improve on your microphone, that's fine. It helps. But then, when we are not seeing those translating into the real life of individuals, we always will come and complain. So yes, we support, we agree with the findings from the National
Development Planning Commission. Yeah.
It was just a progress report of our economy a year under review. What will be some of the things highlighted when you dig to that report? They are mentioned. And all of us, we bear testimony. Yes, where the government perform well, let's give credit to the government. Where they are supposed to look and ensure the factories. And we're here the last time we were talking about the 24-hour economy. We're talking about the Nkokon project. That was last week. We did mention all these indicators. And we hope and we pray that the administration will not just do our report that we've channeled. And we'll see a lot of backlash, but that's fine. That's part of research. But the point is that they must look into those things that we mentioned, which will help improve the economy for all of us.
Okay. Prof, how are we arriving at the macroeconomics that we're recording? The positive macroeconomics that we're recording? So my little readings suggest to me that it has to be heavily based on service. There must be somebody working to be able to record the service that you're doing for it to now translate to a growth. So how are we seeing the growth on paper?
So let me say that government welcomes this report, and I'm yet to read their report. And when in fact, I spent most of this dawn trying to read through the annual progress report. I'm not an economist, but based on my limited understanding of it, And as an MP coming from a rural area, I can relate with some of the findings, but it also leaves me with some questions, which I may pose here, and I hope that Prof and the others may help us answer. Now, I think we should put the report in context. And the first context is that, where did we begin from? As a government, when we came into power, we had very terrible indicators, and I think everybody admits to that. And I like the question.
You never know. Prof, do you admit to that?
Oh, I don't think that's in doubt. But we were at the
I have
some people
from where I
doubted.
sit, sometimes I get a few pushbacks.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, well.
But Prof is right by you. You can just ask him.
Prof, I mean, is it in doubt that the indicators were terrible at the time we came in?
You want to say
inflation was in the skies, exchange rates were struggling to be controlled.
Prof, when the administration took over before,
yes,
the inflation you mentioned stood at 50 something,
yeah,
and had been halved,
yes,
to 23.
Yes, but
you check all the other indicators, we're taking the nosedive.
No, but my point is that at 23, and now we are around 5 point something.
So you should take the momentum.
So my emphasis is that we did not inherit some, and I really didn't want to go back so much to what we took over. But the context I wanted to create is that when you come and you have an economy where you are debt-ridden, where you have restrictions from IMF, where you have unemployment in the skies, where cost of commodities are difficult for people to come by, where you are unattractive for people to lend to you on the market, where your domestic financing markets are unattractive, people are not even willing to invest. If you come in such a situation as a government, you need to act. You have to ask yourself, where do I start from? That's why I like the question you ask, whether some things can occur concurrently, or you will fix a few things and use that to subsequently fix others. We have been told in this country that you cannot develop the way you want without borrowing. All countries borrow, but what you use that money for determines the usefulness of your borrowing and its impact on you. Where you are in a state where no one is willing to lend to you, then you realize that you can't even borrow to develop. So the most prudent thing, therefore, is to restore some confidence in your economy so that people will be willing to do business with you. And I think that was the step that the government took. How do we stabilize the macroeconomic indicators? And I think that from Prof's earlier submission, he alludes to the fact that, yes, that the credit must be given to government, that they have made a lot of effort. What then is left is how this translates. I am hopeful that in this year's budget, mid-year budget that we review, that we'll see, and next year's budget, we will see deliberate effort at translating these things into what I will call the tangible economy. Because for me, as someone who is not an economist, all this talk about indicators and everything, really, to me, in my village, what bothers me is that I have a graduate who will tell me I've been unemployed for 6 years. I have someone who's been out of school for 7 years, and the person has no job. That is what I will be concerned about. I'll be concerned about the fact that my farmers will go to the market and say the product cost has come so low that they are worried if they can get farm inputs. This is what concerns me at the local level. And so I am hoping that these beautiful figures that we are churning out will then translate to that level in this year and the coming years, so that we can see jobs being created. The jobs question is a bit baffling to me, because I see the report is basing the joblessness on the fact that industry haven't done so well. But the service sector also needs people to deliver. And the service sector is doing well. It means that it is employing. It's just that maybe the amount of employment needed in the service sector to generate the results that we need may be less compared to industry. And you can understand that in this IT world, that a lot of jobs in the service sector, AI can do, people can come in, what you would require 10 people to do, you may need one person and an AI assistance, and you can do all of that.
Other related reports suggest that we're doing well in terms of ICT infrastructure.
Exactly.
Are we also doing well in the extractive sector, our resources?
Yeah.
This
report indicates that we did well in the extractive sector.
Is that not calling for the paradox of the Dutch disease, where, you know, there's so much focus on the extractive sector, and so much that it affects the other sector?
No, I don't think so.
Don't think so?
I don't think so. And I am optimistic that when we see the report for 2026, we will see a lot of difference. And I'll tell you why I am optimistic, and I'll wait to see what the figures will look like. Well, gold board played a significant role in our currency stabilization. And I wonder why we have never, as a nation, thought of doing something like gold board all this while, or actually implemented something like that. We have seen the revenue being brought in by gold board and its impact on the economy, which meant that all this while, people were selling our gold and we're not getting the real impact of it. They were under-declaring what they sold. I mean, you are aware of reports where Ghana said the gold we exported to Dubai, and what Dubai said they had received from Ghana, the disparity was so much. So gold board seemed to have brought some control in that area and brought in a lot of resources. That is helping the economic indicators. But when you look at infrastructure in IT, it has improved. If you look at road network, there is a lot of ongoing development in that area. And I think that all of that will reflect in this year's report, not last year, because they had to go through a lot of procurement issues. If you look at major places like hospitals and others, because of the new stringent financial controls introduced by the finance minister, procurement has significantly delayed in a lot of places. You need to get commitment authorization. Now you have to do a value for money. And when you go through all of that, so it takes time for major infrastructural project procurement processes to be completed.
Is that an acceptance of how the report describes the economy, a jobless economy? Because you see, I look forward to the 2026 reports where road infrastructure, we can see physical results, ICT. And as you have been saying, ICT could be doing very well, not because a human being has been employed to do it.
Yes.
So the good and the bad put together, can I just accept that simple title that Nimoy Thompson says, it is a jobless economy?
I don't think I would accept that title. When I read their report, I think, I may be wrong, but their assessment is based on the fact that industry, which is traditionally known to be the biggest source of employment, contracted. And so if industry contracted, then...
Surely, that's a decline.
That's a decline, which means then jobs, and if you look at it in terms of youth unemployment rate in general, it dropped a little.
Okay.
But, I mean, we're around 14.7. Now it's around 13 point something, but it's so insignificant. And so I can understand that jobs are scarce. But to describe the whole thing as jobless just because of the industry, and I think they should also look at classifying the type of jobs we are talking about here. I mean, in fact, there are people who are working and earning millions on their phone, not employed by anybody.
That's probably not recorded.
Yes.
Okay.
There are people sitting at home and doing online trading. There are people selling that you don't see any billboard. They are doing, I know people having multiple jobs, nurses and doctors who are trading online, selling clothes, doing deliveries and all of that. I don't know if the means of assessment captures all of this.
Entrepreneurship then comes under joblessness or something.
I don't know. So whether this is captured, because if we have been looking at jobs to mean the traditional jobs where you work in an industry and we're working in a factory, then we will continue having this situation, because in the tech space, jobs are created that may not necessarily be recorded. So I stand to be corrected if they can demonstrate that all these informal jobs brought in the IT space are also recorded, maybe we might see different things.
Okay.
But the emphasis I want to make is that government must take this as feedback. Mm-hmm. And in reality, I can relate to the number of unemployed youth. There's no doubt about that. I see people who have finished school and they are sending CVs to you as a member of parliament. Can you help me? People are telling you, my son has been out of school for 6 years. Or my daughter is out of school. She's home. We are feeding her. We are worried. So there is indeed a serious unemployment problem in this country. Take that. No one can take that away from this report. But to describe it completely as a jobless economy, well, I have a few questions. Whether these other soft jobs are captured.
Okay.
Secondly, if it is fair that we needed to restore confidence in the economy, and then on the basis of that, go into proper job creation, then I think that we are now in that job creation phase. For instance, if you look at the whole of last year, the security service recruitment we are doing this year was supposed to be last year's recruitment. It didn't come on.
So that will not be counted?
That will not be counted.
Okay.
So you realize that that year, the entire government structure was trying to look at what is happening, what have we taken up, put things in place, look at government policy, and most of those policies are not coming to real. We are going to add close to 10,000 to the security forces this year.
Okay.
Which is actually last year's employment. If you look at health sector, we are recruiting about 8,000 teachers, about another 8 or 6,000. That's the non-tertiary level. Tertiary level, so all of these which never happened last year because we're trying to stabilize the macroeconomy and all of that. This year, hopefully, it should reflect.
Okay.
But the burden is still big. No one should assume that this means that we are out of the woods as far as employment is concerned.
Okay, let me come to Honorable. So the National Development Planning Commission, of course, is a constitutional creation.
Yeah.
It extends to an executive branch. Are you quite fascinated about the fact that an executive branch, or I'd say it constitutes parts of government, was able to do such a research and didn't butter the government up? Are you impressed?
Thank you very much. There's a national security threat, especially where you have able-bodied men and women who are loitering the streets without jobs. It's a very critical issue that we can't push under the carpet, where a large chunk of graduates, youth, all over this country in search of jobs that they cannot find. Therefore, if these young guys are not getting these jobs, if you're not careful, they'll be tempted to go into certain vices that they are not supposed to do. Therefore, the onus is on every government to ensure that some policies are put in place that can create jobs for the youth. And critically, I have not read that report because when Kingsley sent me, he just gave me the headlines of what we'll come to discuss. But on top of my head and a few checks that I've done, I think that when the NDC in opposition brought this idea of 24-hour economy, was a very brilliant one as to how then Mr. Mahama and now President thought through that one of the things that they think they can help the youth is how they can create jobs for Ghanaians. Therefore, to stand on the political platform and champion this policy to ensure that people can get jobs, for me, I think it's a very noble thing that they have done. But as you sit back and you do the analysis, putting numbers together, you realize that they haven't put much in terms of the achievement of this so-called policy of job creation in the 24-hour economy. And why do I say this? Today, most of the jobs that we are doing today are more into technology. You look into the extractive industry, Council, be it gas, oil, mining, are all capital intensive. So clearly you can see that there's much in terms of labor. Maybe some of the things that we see in these areas will be some of these minor things that would not need much of labor hands to do. But these are purely practical, machinery intensive that goes into that investment. So you don't need much over there. Again, today when you look into the banking industry, digital banking, by the comfort of your phone. Thank God, Dr. Baumia, you just press it and you are good to go. So you don't need face-to-face banking as to how you want to bring more people into the banking sector and get it done. And when you come to few areas that people are found wanting is that this government is not making a lot of impact in the manufacturing industry because access to credit. Today, most of these commercial banks are interested in government bills. You know, it's easy for government to give them interest so that really investing in the private sector so then they drive the economy because government alone cannot employ. It is only when you're able to position the economy in a way that you allow the private sector to take position as a driving force in this economy. We are not seeing much. And if the private sector are able to do this, that is where you'll be seeing these jobs that are being created. The cost of doing business, particularly in the area of tariff. In 2024, I was watching the president of Association of Ghana Industry. When the cedi to the dollar was about 14, 15 cedis, the cost of paying utility bills, water and electricity, was far cheaper than today when the cedi and the dollar has been stabilized. Now they say it's about 11.8, 11.9. But today, they are so expensive. So your 24-hour economy, you don't need a private sector person to tell you that I want to run the private sector and want your 24-hour economy. It is only when the production and consumption are going hand in hand, he will just position himself and just roll it out. I don't need President Mama to come and tell me to do a 24-hour economy. Council, Emefa. So clearly you could see that even though the policy was a great one, technically and the way they really touted to make this thing is a failure. It's a total hoax. And that is why it is not reflecting in the job creation that we were talking about. Again, the one district, one factory, it is a way of how we can really move away from the overdependence of foreign goods. Today, our taste for foreign goods in this country, the propensity is just so bad that we can't consume what we produce. Emefa, when I started my trade union practice in 1992, the then Secretary General of the TUC was Christina Piaget. In one of the years in May Day celebration, the theme for the May Day was eat what you grow, grow what you eat. It's a way of trying to move away from our consumption of foreign-made goods so that we can focus on goods that are produced locally. So if the government is not giving support to the manufacturing sector, government is not lending hand, how can they grow? So clearly, you need to look at some of these things that we do. And I'm happy in the time of President Akufo-Addo, we had a policy called Ghana Automotive Development Policy, where you have some of these foreign vehicle assembly plants were brought into this country. And that led to some job creation. Volkswagen in 2020, they produced Polo, Passat, Amarok, Caddy, Toyota Tsuji manufacturing Suzuki in 2021. 2022, we have Nissan and Peugeot. 2023, we have Rana Motors producing Kia and Sinotruk, October 2023. This is the way of trying for government to really position itself in terms of job creation. But the bottom line is that government cannot do it all. That is why you need to position yourself to let the private sector thrive. And in making them thrive, what has been your support to the private sector? Today, you go to the ports, you have brought, what do you call it, AI. the tax that they are paying is there. 2024, the kind of taxes that we are paying was far lower. At least give them some respite to enable them to produce at a very cheaper cost. Today, look at how much you are paying. So when you add all these things to it, you stifle employment. The private sector cannot go. So for me, that's a report that has been generated. It is a good call.
Indulge me a bit. So this particular report, it invites me to want to look at dates because it covers 2022 to 2025, which means that I'm unable to measure the current government's policies in terms of job creation for the youth. You talk about the one district, one factory. It again invites me to that, please, because in 2024, the former president said that he had created about 170,000, let me just check, 170,000 jobs, describing it as an industrial revolution. These jobs, I should see it find expression in this report because the report covers 2022 to 2025. Now, to be able to measure the current government's job report as to how much it has created jobs or not created jobs, I'm likely to see it in the next cycle of report. So there's a bit of disconnect with the jobs that were created already, especially under one district, one factory, previous government. The report should have been giving me some positive indications. I don't know if you understand, because the Ejumera, for example, was launched in 2025. Early 2025.
So what's your question?
My question is that this report should be I should be asking more accountability question from previous government, because it should lead me to more jobs that were created, or the previous government saying that they had created. But the report says that we have a jobless economy. But the report also gave me timeline, 2022 to 2025. In this 2022 to 2025, there was a one district, one factory. And I like to think that the one district, one factory should have employed a lot more people.
Thank you very much. I think that from 2022, we can account for 2022 to 2024.
2024.
Normal what government jobs can roll out. Security services, public sector workers, and what have you. But as to how you can diversify from the main core of government jobs into this 1D, 1F issue we're talking about. It's an arrangement to make sure that at least for people sitting home without doing nothing, some policy initiative need to be created to enable them to have their hands on something to do. It was a going, it's an ongoing policy to enable that the private sector can lead in that arrangement. You get what I mean? So clearly, yes, you haven't seen much between 2022 and 2024, but some job has been created. So the question is that when they succeeded by the NDC government, this thing has stopped.
No.
What has been their role?
No.
What has been their support to drive what has been started? Of course, there have been certain policies that the initial former government started, which they are continuing. So as we speak now, under the Ministry of Trade, Industry, and what they call the agribusiness, what has been their support in that 1D1F arrangement, so that they can continue, because we need to create jobs for these youth. You get what I mean? So clearly, it is a good initiative that was started under that administration. What has been the position of this government? Are they continuing? Have they stopped? And for me, from where I see it, I'm not seeing much for that arrangement. So clearly, we can also see what they are also doing. We are clearly doing this normal soldier police recruitment, and every government will come, they will do it. Okay? Now, you want to look at agriculture. What has been their contribution? You say you are creating jobs and in this thing. You know, growing up, we saw Pomazi Poultry Farm. It was a state-owned that drive the poultry industry. And for you to bring this idea that in your first phase, you want to give it to individuals, and these individuals end up to be NDC-owned party people. And they end up eating their chicks and their eggs and all that. So clearly, even though you have a very good idea as to create employment, you have not thought it through as to the management of these poultry farm business for us to move away from the importation and consumption of these frozen poultry chicken. It's not helping us. It's a major employment drive if they have done it well. almost over 200 million Ghana cedis has gone down the drain. Well, we cannot even assess.
That 200, in fact, the Greek ministry has been pushing back, saying that 201 or 245 million, it hasn't been released yet. In fact, what they have spent so far is from past budgets.
Past budget.
Yes.
So how much is it? Even if it is 100 million or 50 million, it's a huge sum of money. And this is a way of trying to create employment.
I mean,
and this is supposed to
means that the 200,
continue.
Over 200 million
is continue. This job creation that they intend to do must fall on the roadside.
Okay.
No, I just wanted to provide some small information before council comes in. You see, the report is from 2022 to 2025, and we usually provide trend analysis year by year. So I can understand, because he hasn't read the report yet, but I just wanted to cite one example for him to realize that indeed it's a very detailed report. And your initial question to him, I celebrate the confidence of Dr. Thompson and his team, because yes, even though by extension, but this is a creation of the constitution, so they have some independence like all the commissions, so they speak their mind, and I think government must take this in good faith and will work on it. But I'll just providing this, the confidence, for instance, business enabling environment and trade facilitation. He was talking about the private sector. I just want to read something. Business confidence improved in 2025, with the Bank of Ghana Business Confidence Index rising from 96.6 in 2024 to 107.7 in 2025. And if you go, the lowest was in 2022, 75.4. So they have similar trends. So if you look at the unemployment, that's why I said there was a marginal drop, youth unemployment, marginal drop, but I think the drop is insignificant. Because it was around 14 point something, it came to 13 point something, but that's still very insignificant. So to quantify, you can quantify what actually happened in the tenure of this government and what had happened previously. And the only other thing I wanted to provide for my senior is that if you talk about something like 24-hour economy, Emefa, that buttresses my point that we need to give government time. The bill of 24-hour economy was passed in February this year. Assented to by the president on the 19th of February 2026. Its impact, therefore, cannot be assessed in 2025.
I don't think it found expression in this report.
No, it is the reason why I'm saying that. If you are saying that we have done nothing about it, then it's not a fair assessment. That's all the point I wanted to make.
My understanding of this report particularly is that
he's got two bites. No, but he spoke first.
Unless you have a rebuttal to that, then I'll come to you. You talk. You talk. Unless he has a rebuttal.
But that's on the structure.
It's not. I really want. Maybe he has. Don't worry about the time.
So listen to me.
Because he interjected.
I think you can.
No, I was actually moving on to lawyer before Prof said.
No, I kept quiet because he said he was going to give. He was giving facts.
Yeah, that's right. You are just giving because that's why.
I should give you time at the 8:30 end.
Lawyer for time, right?
You have to give us equal time. So I'm listening to your question.
Well, it's the same question. Two things. The first question, I'm not sure I got an answer, but I think Prof made an intervention that since it's a constitutional creation, whatever the report comes, maybe we should be able to look at it with that independent view. But this report, what is the real interpretation of it, 2022 to 2025? For me, it invites me to want to assess the job creations that were created within that period. And why, again, the report will say that it is still a jobless economy?
Okay. So, you see, factually, because of the structure of our economy, we are unable to create jobs. Different regimes may manage this underlying factor differently. You understand? But for me, the central issue is that because of the structure of this economy, one, we are unable to generate enough revenue. The economy is unable to generate enough foreign exchange reserve. And thirdly, the economy is unable to create jobs. Yeah, understand. And so for me, that's the issue. As in, we can look at regime per regime, and what you would see quickly is that different regimes have tackled this structural defect differently. So you may have a regime that may manage this structural sickness of the economy better. But the bottom line is that because of the structure of this economy, is an economy that beyond its inability to create jobs, is also unable to generate enough revenue and is unable to, as it were, generate enough foreign exchange. And that's why you notice that we have a certain cycle. The cycle being that when a new regime comes in, first 2 years, you see stability and you see all these beautiful numbers. Because even Addo, you can criticize Addo's regime. My opinion is that in terms of management of the economy and so many things, it was the worst. And yet, in the first 2 years, we saw very beautiful, what's called macro finance indicators. To the extent that I think sometime in 2018, for the first time, they even had trade balance surplus. So then, we should take this report in good faith, because what it does is that it re-echoes a problem that we all know, and even gives it much more flesh and much more detail. And so in the analysis of it, in our discussion, we should try as much as possible not to be too partisan. Because it's a problem that at least we can say that none of the political parties that have had the opportunity of sponsoring the executive have managed to deal with. Now, the central issue is that, so why is it that for periods we have very good macroeconomic indicators? And here I must say that one very critical indicator, and I'm saying this because of what my big brother said, this government has managed to bring something like a treasury bill rate to about 6%. And we are seeing the impact of that. For the first time since President Akufo's time, banks are actually chasing private sector to give loans. True. You get the picture. Now the question is, if because of just that policy of reducing treasury bill rate to about 6%, banks are chasing, how is it that we have not seen a radical transformation, or we are not seeing steps that will represent a radical transformation of the economy? Here we ought to understand that transformation can happen quickly, but transformation won't happen within 1 year or 2 years or 3 years. As in, when you take a historical perspective of steps that countries have taken, and here I'm talking about post-Second World War, we saw how the European economy was transformed because out of the Marshall Plan. The US itself, because of the Small Business Act, which created the Small Business Agency. You talk about the story of South Korea, you talk about Singapore, the Asian tigers. And even though all these transformations happen within the scope of a generation, that's 30 years, I've not seen a story of a country where they've had proper transformation within the scope of 1 or 2 years. And that's why, for me, it's very important now to look at actions that are being taken and whether or not the government has commitment to take those actions. So, for instance, in the last regime, within the first year, they took very serious actions, which for some of us brought us a lot of hope. And you are making reference to a policy and a step like the 10-point industrialization agenda, which included the automotive industry my brother is talking about. Very fantastic idea. Now the issue is, what was the extent or level of commitment that was shown in terms of fulfilling this? Because, and you see your commitment, and the words of Joe Biden, that the best evidence of your commitment level is where and how you place your monies. What kind of justification can you have, or what kind of commitment levels will the fact that in one of the programs under the 10-point industrialization agenda, the 1D1F, government spent just 400 million Ghana cedis, instead to spend over 5 billion Ghana cedis on NAPCO. You understand? Now that fiscal decision tells me that the problem we are having is not because we don't understand what the solution is, but it's a fundamental lack of commitment to really solving the problems. Because if you put 5 billion in NAPCO, and NAPCO how many jobs did they say NACO created? And were those jobs sustainable? And you spend 400 million Ghana cedis on 1D, 1F. Then clearly you've shown that you do not really have a commitment to creating that economy that can realistically create jobs. Because when it comes to creating jobs, one, it is critical that you deal with your macro economy, because that will create the conditions, it will create the environment in which you can have real economic growth. Two, you must also then deal with your industrial productivity or industrial transformation. And government must deliberately take policies that will do that. And that's why in the 10-point industrialization agenda, proposed written by Lanche Martin, there was what he called the strategic anchor industries. That was necessary that government deliberately identify certain industries and then use both its power of fiscal policy and its power of monetary policy to bring about real growth there. Because, and here we are guided by history. Because you take the big industries now, even so like a company like Toyota. Toyota became strong because the government of Japan, even though it's a capitalist government, deliberately pumped money into Toyota. One of the biggest capitalist countries in the world is the US. And yet, one of the greatest American, Hamilton, Alexander Hamilton, around the early 19th century, wrote a paper in which he proposed policies that we may term to be socialist or government interventions in America, deliberately building their industries and protecting them. You understand? You go to South Korea and to Singapore and all those, and their big industries were industries that governments deliberately used its power of fiscal policy. That is how it spent money and how it generates money to build those industries. The point is, what is the strategy in Ghana to deal with that? Because like I'm saying, Lanche Martin proposed the strategic anchor industry. That let's identify, let's say, the pharmaceutical industry. Let's use a power of fiscal policy to boost them. Let's talk about palm. Let's talk about textiles. Because when your industries grow, the natural consequence is that you are going to create jobs. Because then you are moving from a system where you just, because we have raw materials here. You are just exporting your raw materials to a situation where you are actually adding value. Because it is in the value addition
that creates the job.
That's why. Two, when you want to create jobs, then you must also look at deliberately using your power of fiscal policy to build small and medium scale enterprises. Because factually, we know that the biggest sector of the economy that create jobs are the SMEs. You go to all these big economies, and more than 60% of the jobs created in those sectors are the SME. And here again, we have another example. So we should recall that the Second World War came on the back of the Great Depression. The Great Depression happened between around 1929 up until 1939 when the Second World War happened. So there was about a 15-year period, half a generation, where the economies of the West tanked because of the combined effects of both the Great Depression and the Second World War. Now, then the question is that what necessitated the boom between 1950 to let's say 1965? It was called the baby boomers. In fact, that's the reason why I call it baby boomers. And this didn't happen per chance. I'm saying when you go to Europe, US introduced the Marshall Plan, which was a strategic plan to transform the economy. In US itself, President Dwight Eisenhower introduced what we call the Small Business Act, which created a small business agency.
When they do, and their successive governments, they don't discontinue
because they institutionalize them by law.
That should know what the NDPC
exactly.
should be
doing.
Like
they institutionalize it by law. So, for instance, the 1D, 1F was, in terms of strategy, in terms of policy, in terms of intervention, was one of the most consequential and transformative policies ever done. Because we're talking about a policy that says that in spite of the interest rate that may pertain, government is going to take more than half a subsidized interest rate. They are saying that in spite of the what's called whatever tax, when you're a company that falls on 1D1F, then we are going to give you some kind of tax holiday. You understand? Yeah. If you're a company that so a number of interventions. Now the question is, why was this not institutionalized by way of a law?
So that a successive government
so that when NDC came, there'll be no reason, because you see, and I'm saying this because voting for Ghana, beyond our party manifesto, we have a situation where the agenda of the state has been set by our constitution. So you take the directive principle of state policy, and there's an economic agenda. You understand? And so then you cannot have a justification in the face of an agenda that has been set by our constitution why governments would want to depart. Because in my opinion, then this government, one of their biggest mistakes they did was to discontinue the 1F. You understand? But then also the issue is that the previous regime also, in my opinion, gave them the opportunity by not doing proper.
What's the rationale behind it? What's the rationale behind it? I heard it, but I still cannot.
Maybe so it's for them to come and tell why, explain to us why, because they could have made it better. Because the 1F, in my opinion, could have sat within the context of the 24-hour economy. Because what they have done well is to institutionalize the 24-hour economy by way of the law. You understand? And then when you read the 24-hour, you said there's a massive focus on small and medium-scale enterprises. Excellent. But imagine when the 1F was not discontinued, and now 1F together with the 24-hour, whose focus is in building, what's it called? When I'm sure you can explain. But the point is, at the end of the day, the bottom line is, how do we change the structure of this economy? Because the real jobs and real revenue and real prosperity is created in the value chain. You understand? It's created in the value chain. That's why we real, and you see, and we can do that by deliberate government intervention. And it goes back to the simple definition of what an economy is. Because when you define an economy in very simple terms, the state of every country in terms of its production and consumption of goods and services and the supply of money. And it is in the supply of money where we see the opportunity by government to intervene in the economy. So it's one thing having strong macros, but to then translate this macroeconomic indicators to one, proper generation of revenue, to two, proper generation of foreign exchange, and three, into proper job creation, then it will require deliberate government intervention. And government intervenes by the use of one is fiscal. So let's say, so you go into our GTP, our Great Transformation Plan, and when it comes to the macroeconomic, we are saying that government can introduce a policy, for instance, a policy of what's called what we call government guarantees. So government will create, you cause Bank of Ghana and the Ministry of Finance to create some form of guarantee. And those guarantees will be given to the banks to enable the banks to then give a cheap facilities to SMEs. You know what the problem that will solve? Now, when you read Dr. Bamia's, when Dr. Bamia was introducing himself after he won the NDPC primary last, he said something very profound. I think in chapter 63 to 67, as not to be corrected. But essentially what he said was that when Addo became president, he gave him the task of dealing with the structural problems that was holding the economy back. And he talked about me identify one of the key issues to be the informal nature of the economy. And it is true. One of the problems that is really holding us back is the informal nature of the economy. Now, how do you solve that issue? Because we couldn't solve that issue under the last regime. Imagine you have a policy. That
we'll be landing shortly.
Okay. Imagine you have a policy where government is supporting SMEs, not just by way of granting them cheap capital, but also by granting them institutional support by way of proper corporate governance. And the requirement is that you must be a company properly so-called. You must be formalized.
Okay.
The consequential effect is that you have so many companies immediately going to be formalized because they know that when I'm formalized, I'll get government support in terms of I'll get access to a capital. And when we've done all these, then my friend Adeti once said, you can chew corn and still walk. You see, you can do all these together. So you are dealing very well with the macros, but then you're also creating, through by way of policy, by way of law, interventions. You understand? That will give proper support to your private sector. And there are so many things you can do. When we've done that, and for me, when it comes to these issues, there are issues that borders on national agenda, and we should not discuss them on partisan level. And then we have this, and then they're institutionalized. Then we will be we will start the progress or the steps to bring about proper transformation. And I'm saying that proper transformation can be done within a generation. We can, within this generation, change Ghana, make Ghana to be the shining light, make Ghana to be the example, make Ghana to reclaim its position as the Black Star of Africa. And we can do that if we have proper commitment to the agenda set for us under our constitution.
Let me go, but Honorable, let me start with you on the matter of, because of time, we may have to go to the other issue.
A small bite.
Would that be out of your own time?
Whatever, if you don't mind.
Okay.
But the question is, you asked whether the 1D1F, its main agenda, what it was about.
Sorry?
The 1D1F, you were trying to ask from council what exactly it was about. The objective.
The discontinuity of it?
That's one thing.
My question was, why was it discontinued?
Yeah. One, and I think that it was a deliberate attempt.
No, but that Prof should be the one answering that question.
No, what I'm saying is that it was a deliberate attempt on two fronts.
Okay.
One for import substitution and job creation. One for import substitution, because the essence of that policy was a way to move away from the consumption of these exotic products you have in this country. Yes. So we can focus on our locally produced.
You are telling me the idea behind the creation. My question was, why did this government discontinue it?
Now we'll come to
exactly. So that was the question. Because I think the rationale there was popularized.
It's about how we are able to sustain these jobs for these youth on our streets. Okay. You get what I mean?
Okay.
Also, in a way of moving away from normal government jobs, the NEIP was a lot of these informal sector that Council talked about. So we can tap into these young guys who have these brilliant ideas that government can support them. They have it there. They are continuing. Let's see more of some of these things that is coming out. So we'll be able to do that. Then also the revival of some of these minds in terms of these jobs that were created. You remember the revival of what do you call it? The Obuasi and the Bibiani gold mines. At the time when we assumed office in 2017, they were all off. So they have a lot of effort have to go in to make sure that they come back to life.
Okay.
Create more jobs, including the Ghana Integrated Aluminium Development Corporation, in order to, these bauxite mining, value addition, and all that. So a lot of things.
Honorable, let me start with you on the conversation here on free speech. And this morning we're asking, where does your freedom of speech begin and where does it end? Does it have an end? When I hear free, I feel like a bird. But should I have the idea that it has an end as well? Section 208 is up in the conversation again.
Yesterday I was going through the social media and I realized that, is it Camilla?
Yes.
Has been
sentenced to 1 year in prison, yes.
Because he was talking that and an NDC pastor, I also watch on social media, because of this flooding issue, one of the assemblies went into an area where it's floods a lot. And the pastor has put some structures there and the assembly moved in with their task force to demolish it. And in the heat of the demolition, he owned up to say, look, he's an NDC member, he's been praying for the NDC, and he has to slaughter 32 cows. So he has to slaughter 32 cows to intervene for the NDC for their victory. So in some of these social media outbursts and their commentaries, she re-emphasized that statement to say that the pastor of the NDC said they slaughtered 32 cows for President Mahama and his NDC. So it was a reference that she was making into, and she added some few other commentaries and all.
In the video, did she reference the pastor?
Yeah, she did.
She mentioned the pastor. Are you sure?
That she mentioned the pastor, yes. That a pastor once said that he slaughtered 32 cows for the NDC victory and all that. So because of that, she was invited by the police, but she went into hiding, and later she was picked up and she ended up in the court, and she's been jailed for 1 year. And You see, we are in this country, and history has taught us so many things. In the position as I sit here, I am careful the way I communicate. I give respect to authority. If it's time for me to punch the president and his party, I'll punch him. I don't insult. I don't denigrate. But sometimes, what happened before, when President Akufo-Addo was so tolerant enough, Emefa, you have Basintale, that young man in charge of YEA, could hold beer in his hand and a pork, telling Dr. Bamina, the public, that this is what Dr. Bamina does. Because of elections, you can sit on a high horse and describe the sitting vice president, a candidate of the NPP, whose faith is Muslim. And you know the Muslim, they abhor drinking and the eating of pork. They never went into him. They never went to arrest him.
Because you can't discuss religious matters in court.
No, what I'm saying is that it's a defamation.
But
I mean, how do you destroy his image?
It's not criminal.
What are you saying?
Defamatory is not criminal.
But you can see,
the individual would decide whether or not.
But we allow all that thing to happen.
No, but that one does not amount to causing public any disturbance.
What I'm saying is that he has the right to take you to court, because you are disgracing his persona.
That is him.
What I'm saying is him.
Care about.
So if he did not go to court, and President Mama, because the lady said your pastor said you have killed him.
President Mama didn't go to court.
Please. I said the police that arrested him. The police, who did they work for? Don't they work for the executive? And who said the president is not behind it? Because we don't see the face of the president pushing the police to go and arrest him.
What happens to 208 then? Because you don't need anybody to push anybody.
What I'm saying is that
lawyer doing.
You will not see President Mahama's hand pushing the police to go and arrest the woman. But immediately it happens, they will point hands on the president.
Okay.
That is not tolerant. Because a lot of things were done.
But for that misdemeanor, she would have been handed down. She would have been
1 year.
3 years. Isn't it the maximum of 3 years?
Misdemeanor, how many years?
Maximum of 3 years.
It's maximum of 3 years.
Maximum of 3 years.
3 years.
Yes. So the judge was quite magnanimous.
But the judge could also have
fined.
This is a first-time offender.
And what's what? Have they passed the committee something?
We have passed, but it's yet to be assented.
Yeah.
This is why some of the laws we are passing are important.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah. As the law exists, he couldn't have done much. The judge only had to refer to the laws that exist. But do you hear his argument?
In fact, I have a problem. I think it's a huge problem. So let me say, I condemn in no certain terms disrespectful statements. They do not represent who we are. They don't represent our values. You understand? Indeed, we don't want this political culture. We want a political culture where we can have this passionate discussion, we can disagree, show respect. You understand? Because that's how you build a country. So I condemn what the lady said. But does that amount to a crime? Because every crime has elements. And my view is that this Section 208 is being weaponized. Because, as I've said here, the free speech thing is an unfettered, is a right that has fetters. Yes, it's a right that has fetters. But most of the fetters, some of the fetters includes taking civil action. Yeah, and 208 is a fetter. And when you read 208, the focus here is to cause fear and panic. A false statement that is likely to cause fear and panic. And I think that unfortunately it is being weaponized to cow people into talking. That's to say, I condemn falsehood and all, but we should be careful how, as a government, how we.
You think the child under 208 was a bit of a stretch for this particular?
I think so. For me, it hasn't, because the key issue here is the likelihood to cause fear.
So, Counsel, the charges on this lady, were that of offensive conduct,
but even so,
conducive to the breach of the peace.
Okay.
And publication of false.
207. Usually come together. Now take the elements of 207. I'm coming.
I just wanted to take the charges.
Yes. So you take even 207, because in 207 also you need to prove that the statement whether false
can
or
really
not,
amount to
causing not this. So now that's the second link.
Yes.
Now, so first of all, was it the police that will charge? And I'm saying that both under 207 and 28, I don't see the offense.
When a person is read, when the charges are read to the person,
now when you
and the person admits to the guilt, will the prosecutor then have to prove the elements again?
No. But the point is that, you see, when you read the Constitution, it says that you are presumed to be
not guilty.
And then the exceptions are where there's a valid plea of guilty. So it's not just a plea of guilty. That plea of guilty must be a valid plea of guilty. So the question was that, was her plea of guilty
valid?
Okay. Understand? Now what makes a plea of guilty not valid? One, that plea must be voluntary. That plea must be a plea that is unequivocal. Must be a plea that is informed. Must be a plea that is fair. Must be a plea that does not amount to a miscarriage of justice.
Okay.
Now you take this offense. Well, one of the things that ought to be established is one in the under 207, whether or not it has a chance of causing breaching the public peace. Now this an issue that will cause of a lot of debate amongst lawyers. Do you think this Camilla woman understood? First of all, when you say guilty, did she even understood what the elements of because in the mind it was
because she has spoken.
But just the speaking alone does not constitute an offense. For it to be an offense,
do you think she should be pardoned?
No, I'm talking about the responsibility also on the judges. So when you're a judge,
did she have a legal?
Even if she did not even have,
no, but
even suppose she did not have a.
But if she had,
but even if she had, and let's say the lawyer, but there's a duty on the judge because your duty is to dispense with justice.
The judge, her lawyer, the judge said that she needed to serve some deterrence. Then this action.
The point is that see, when you plead guilty, what it means is that you are saying that you are pleading guilty to all the elements of the charge.
Yes.
As I said, there's a responsibility on the judge. Because that plea has been informed.
But that ties the hand of the judge, isn't it?
No, it has not. In fact, really, it even raises the obligation. So too, if let's say if the plea of guilty does not equivocally admit to her admission of all the offenses.
Make my point on
I'll just finish. All the offenses. It's the duty of the judge. You understand? Yeah. Because there are so many cases, and that's why when you read the Criminal Procedure Act, where one. Even when you make a statement, and that's why I say guilty but with an explanation. Usually the judges are advised. And then two, when you the judge, because you have a duty to also ensure that her decision is an informed one. And
how would the judge do that, considering the fact that he's quite adversary?
No, okay. on the face of it.
My layman understanding of this.
You understand? This I'm saying, because what will happen is that when we weaponize some of these cardinal values of democracy, then we are weakening democracy itself.
I concur seriously with him that all of us should condemn this kind of utterances. And I always advise, I gave a talk to some young people, and I told people that when you sit behind a screen in your room and you are speaking, making a post, imagine that you were standing before that person. Would you say the same thing?
If I would say the same thing and it's not a crime, why would I?
Well, no, but Emefa,
probably understand.
But the truth is that many of the things people say in the comfort of their room, behind the screen, when they are before you, they are not able to say.
That's moral.
Yes. My whole point is that this is just a general advice to people that we shouldn't use social media to be reckless. But so I think that what the lady did was condemnable. Now, on the face of it, the action of this judicial process and all gives more importance to why we had to pass the community service bill.
Yeah.
And I thank God that it was not one that was contentious. All of us kind of agreed to a large extent that some of the offenses people commit for which they go to jail, that the state will spend money on them. She's going to be imprisoned. We're going to feed her 3 times a day. It's not with hard labor and all of that, which means we are going to spend time on her. And she has lost her liberties. Look, this person, if found guilty, as has been done, could have been asked to render some community service. That would really serve as a deterrent to everybody. If we see her sweeping, mandatorily she has to sweep 3 times a day or morning and evening a particular location, people know that it was because she said this that she's doing. So I think I praise the proponent of the bill, and I praise Parliament for passing it.
Okay.
Now, as to whether they should have taken this level and whether it should have been deemed criminal, it's hard for me to understand. It's hard for me to take it. I think that what she did was wrong, but my understanding, my lay understanding was that perhaps the hands of the judge were tied. Council exposition is giving me different opinion about it now, but the way I understood it is that if you look at the laws, I mean, I've been serving on the subsidiary legislation committee since I went to Parliament. And when we look at the offenses to many of the regulations we put, there will be either a fine in terms of some, you call them whatever units.
Penalty units.
Or a custodial sentence, and you have a minimum and a maximum. In this one, the maximum was 3 years, and perhaps I think the minimum would have been the 1 year that the judge gave. So if she didn't have any other, or the judge didn't have any other option once pronounced guilty to give one, then you can't really fault the judge. And I'll ask the lawyers to expose this better, so I will look at it. But we should, from now on, when that bill is assented, things like this should go to the community service so that people will learn that you don't do that. And just to add that, what my senior said, this lady made more very disparaging remarks than just the issue of the pastor and the 10 cows.
Yeah.
Some that I cannot even repeat, even to my kid, let alone on set.
Yeah.
So it is something we must all condemn. I can never, just like you senior, you will never, and I've been on set with a few times, I've never heard you make even a denigrative comment about any public official. I can't do that. So if you can't do that on set, why should someone be comfortable to sit in their room and say such things? Things to alluding to people should be eliminated. I mean, things that I can't even mention on to someone in private. So I think the principle is clear, and all sides, everybody should let this message go down, that there should be limits. I think it was Idi Amin who said he can guarantee you your freedom of speech. But I cannot guarantee you freedom after speech. I mean, we are not calling for that days, but people should know that as you have freedom of speech, there are consequences. You are hurting someone. This person has kids, he has a spouse. How will they feel watching your post? That's the question we should ask.
My time came really quick. We're going to talk about the assault on my colleague, but unfortunately, time is up. We have other things to do. I apologize, and I know Honorable is looking at me the way, because he hates it when his time is taking. Honorable Medakukusia. Thank you very much. Well, so this is for immediate release and for your attention. The Adom branch of the multimedia group condemned assault on our reporter and some other civilians at Nkwanta South. Now, our OT regional correspondent, Obrimpomba Kwame Owusu, has reported to us that he has been assaulted by some soldiers deployed to enforce a curfew in Nkwanta South. The assault took place in the evening of Saturday, 11th July 2026, the day the New Patriotic Party held its constituency primaries across Ghana. According to our reporter, by 5 p.m., when the curfew was supposed to come into force, the election processes had not been completed as party people and the media awaited for the final results to be declared. While the people waited for the polls results, Obrimpomba learned that some soldiers were molesting some civilians over the supposed breach of the curfew. As a journalist, he took it upon himself to capture the happenings for a news story. In his line of duty, the reporter got heckled and physically assaulted by some of the soldiers who accused him of taking videos and photographs of the exercise. The beatings inflicted pains on his joints and some other parts of his body, requiring that he is rushed to the nearby St. Joseph Hospital, where he's been since on admission. Obrimpomba Owusu further reports that a multimedia jacket he wore as a working gear got shredded from the beatings he received from the soldiers. It took the intervention of some National Investigations Bureau and police personnel, as well as election officials present, to rescue our reporter and other civilians from further beatings at the hands of the soldiers. Among the other victims, Edoso, Emefa.
The conduct of these soldiers must be put to question.
I mean,
it
will interest you to know that this is not the first time. We've suffered this many times.
You must sue the Attorney General and the Ministry of Defense, including the Chief of Defense Staff. What is this? We're not in a revolution. We are not in a revolution. And the soldiers must be careful. They must look straight into the eyes and tell them whatever they are doing is wrong. They do these things and they go free. Nobody question them. Nobody does them anything. What kind of nonsense is that?
Anyway,
it's a very sad.
We discussed this extensively on Monday, but just to put it out there.
And they are free. They are working there because they are soldiers.
And even court martial.
What is this? Nobody is going to do them anything.
And their own system. Once they come, they should be court martial.
What is this? And the chief of defense staff is sitting there. Chief of army staff is sitting there. If one of them is there,
been going good.
It's going well.
Very well.
Want some slang? I said my ever big brother.
Some slang.
Professor Titus Bayo is Member of Parliament for Lambisi and board chairman of the Kolebu Teaching Hospital. I'll be very biased. He's one of my star performers in Parliament. We earlier had Professor Boedi as well joining us. He is Executive Director of the Institute of Economic Research and Public Policy. We still have a few things to discuss. You want to stay on the show?
Strategy will lead. Oh no, not again.
Say, relax. The generator will come on now.
The generator is not working.
Why stress yourself when the experts are just one tap away? Introducing Left Power, the smart emergency support app from Left Signature Limited. With Left Power, certified engineers respond fast, anytime, anywhere. No delays, no stories.
Hello, sir. This is Left Signature Limited. The request has been received and our engineers are already on their way. Please relax. We've got you covered.
This is professional. Every Left expert is certified, verified, and can be tracked in real time. Oh, you'll know they're coming before they even arrive. From electrical engineering and solar power systems to data center management, cloud services, smart automation, and software development, Left Signature delivers excellence, fast, reliable, and professional. Left Power.
Your solution is just one tap away.
Available on Play Store and App Store.
Hi, now let me share my wildlife experience with you at Safari Valley Eco Park.
Welcome to Safari Valley Eco Park.
Our electric shuttle pulled up and in no time our tour began. We were surrounded by wildlife from the moment we entered the Eco Park. We were greeted by experienced tour guides who took us through orientation and how to better enjoy the experience. Watch these animals roam freely in their natural habitat undisturbed by our presence. We saw zebras, sable antelope, brown crane, mara, silky chicken, nyalas, Shetland ponies, and so many animals I just couldn't keep up. Our tour guides taught us so much about the wildlife, their behavior, and how to interact with them. I even fed them. We also went fishing on a man-made canal. Then we took a break to have lunch in this serene environment. All this amazing experience for this price for adults, this price for teenagers. It's a bargain. As the sun began to set, it was time to go back home, but not before dinner by the campfire. It has been a thrill of a lifetime, and I can't wait till my next visit.
Safari Valley Eco Park, bringing you closer to nature.
Upgrade your print game with Konica Minolta, proudly powered by SkySat Technologies. From all-in-one machines that print, scan, and copy to professional systems and heavy-duty production machines, we deliver unmatched performance. Right now, SkySat has an unbeatable offer. 1 entire year of free servicing on all Konica Minolta machines. That's 12 months of expert maintenance for new and existing customers. Visit our new VIP Print Center at Pegasus Place, Airport Residential Area for a live demonstration. Call us on 050-164-5180 or 0302-798-829. Again, it's 050-164-5180 or 0302-798-829. SkySat Technologies. Performance that delivers every time. Palladium Residences in Achimota isn't just an address, it's the home you truly earned. Secure your place with just a 10% deposit and choose from beautifully designed modern apartments or spacious townhouses built for everyday comfort. This is more than a building. It's a vibrant, curated community with a clubhouse, state-of-the-art gym, and an on-site hotel, all at ABC Junction, minutes from Achimota Mall. Enjoy city energy while retreating to your private sanctuary. Call now to reserve your unit and benefit from limited launch incentives, including priority unit selection, executive pricing, and flexible payment options available. Don't miss the chance to pick the best homes. Book your private site visit today. Call 050-9823-424. Palladium Residences. Live smart, invest better.
Thank you so much for staying with us. Let's talk about Christianpreneurs Africa Summit, which is an entrepreneurship and leadership platform dedicated to equipping entrepreneurs, SMEs, business owners, professionals, and emerging leaders with practical business knowledge, innovation, and growth strategies. And joining me this morning is Reverend David Wincott. He's a convener, Christianpreneurs Africa. So I've just been telling them, Rev, about what it is, but I'm going to pretend I don't know still. Tell me exactly what Christianpreneurs is and what went into choosing the name.
Yes. So basically, I think you've shared that this is very insightful. Christianpreneurs, it's Christian doing business.
Okay.
I mean, preneurs means business. So Christian who are doing business. Many a times when you hear Christian, we kind of trying to put us in a religious and maybe spiritual, but it's a culture. Christianity is not just a religion. And we believe that there are Christians who are doing business. And in Ghana at the moment, we said we are 71% Christian. So what it means is that if businesses is doing well, it means among the 71% are doing well. And so we put together Christianpreneurs and we said any Christian that is doing business, if you're an entrepreneur, career, professional, even if you are trading, you come and we train you. And what we do is that we believe that anything that's scale requires information, requires knowledge. And we believe that in the industry, today when you meet any Ghanaian, you meet any African, they will tell you, oh, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm doing something. But the point is that why are we still struggling? It's because we don't have the enough knowledge, we don't have the enough information to scale. So we put together great speakers who are actually lined up. I'm sure you've seen them.
I've seen them. We're going to put it up as well, and you tell me about them. But I'm well aware that it's not the first edition.
No.
This is the
fifth edition. This
tell
is the
me,
fifth edition.
how's it been so far, though?
Yes, so the first edition, we met at Accra International Conference Center, and we actually always having multimedia to support this vision. And I believe when you go to your corporate head, when you go to your main office or your headquarters, you have Christ at work.
Yes.
And that's the banner. It tells you that, Christ came to preach economics.
And if Christ at work, it means that we will have Buddhists, we have Muslims, we have all those people who are also going to be beneficiary to what we also profess. And so second edition was also another wonderful one. We had, the theme was knowledge acquisition.
Okay.
So we believe that if there's anything that for us to scale, we need knowledge, which I have shared that as well. We had the second, the third, and the fourth edition. We had it at Accra, Ghana Exim Bank Auditorium.
Okay,
and this year
one
we
is
are going to
happening
have
there
it
too.
also there too. It's been wonderful. And the point is, I have bishops, I have people who have actually been doing businesses, but they've seen that there's a shift or there's a separate calling when it comes to business and when it comes to, let's say, becoming a priest. I'm a reverend minister, but I have been in the marketplace for so many years. I was sharing with the producer that when Multi TV started, for 2 years, my company was sourcing for your production and your post-production.
I see.
And as the point, I saw that this is the kind of people God has actually positioned them in the marketplace to be an apostle. So whether you are a preacher, whether you are an evangelist, whether God has called all of us in this fivefold ministry, which is take dominion, replenish, subdue, control, and multiply. These five calling, before we had our becoming a teacher, becoming a pastor, becoming an evangelist, becoming a prophet, and becoming an apostle. This is the fivefold ministry God has actually called us to. And we have seen in our region, most especially in Africa, look at the employment rate.
Yeah.
Huge. We cannot burden the government to do that. And the point is that if we can actually bridge this gap, we need people to scale. And if you can only scale when people who have the knowledge to give you that information that you need.
This year, when is it happening? 18th July?
It's happening tomorrow, Saturday, 18th July, at the Ghana Exim Bank Auditorium. The African Trade House. They have a very beautiful auditorium.
Okay.
They've been hosting us. This is going to be the third time they are hosting us in that auditorium. And I think it's a blessing for us to have everyone who actually believe in the calling of, there's a theology of work. Even as we have theology of ministry, there's also theology of work. That even as you're sitting here, beautiful, and you are interviewing me, that is your call. And every service to man is service to God. And if you believe that, if you're a trader, if you're a businessman, if you're even a cameraman who is operating whatever you are doing, that you believe that this is my call, you are like the prophet, or you are like a bishop who is actually leading over 5,000 or 50,000, or even sitting people in a stadium. And we believe this is the time for us to take it up.
And non-Christians come?
Yes. In fact, even some of my supporters, people who would actually support us in doing that, most of them are not even Christian. They believe in the vision. If we happen to be in this room and we have unbelievers who have actually put this together, this devices or this equipment that we are using, some of them don't know Christ.
Yes.
But they have put this together. So it means in your community, you want people who are doing well to partner you. You want even your neighbors to be doing well. You want even your in-law even to be doing well. So I believe if you are even a Muslim, if you're a Buddhist, this is the time for us to come. And for us to evangelize or to win people to Christ, this is the core. So Christianpreneurs, it's a summit that I believe if anybody who is actually watching me right now could also be a part to join this movement or to join this movement. I believe when we are calling forth people who have actually done well in their profession or wherever they find themselves, they can attest that they have touched many lives in their businesses. They have touched many lives even as they go about their daily endeavor in dispensing their services.
For those who are watching us today who want to be part tomorrow, it's not too late. is at 3 p.m. tomorrow, but you have to register. You do not, Rev.
Yes.
How can you register?
So there's a good news and there's a very good news.
Okay.
So the good news is that we have over 1,000 registered.
Wow.
And the capacity we need is about 500. So what it means is that we are working on a slots for people to actually attend.
Okay.
Now, the very good news is that you can also be part of this virtually.
Oh, nice.
And then also, why not? We actually can also connect you to our community where any of our clinics or any of our activities that we're doing, we can actually engage you. But of course, Multimedia Joy News has actually been a partner or support, a media partner to this course. You can go to www.christianpreneursafrica.com, christianpreneursafrica.com, and you can find the registration link there.
Okay.
And you register.
Is that a fee?
No.
That's nice.
Yes.
That's really, really
Yes.
nice. I like to bear the good news.
Yes.
So, Rev, thank you for
Yes.
bringing us some freebie. You can be part of this. It's not too late. Well, the capacity is quite full, as he said, but you have the opportunity to join virtually as well. Don't miss out on this great opportunity. So, on that website, every other information we need will be available
information is and this year we are blessed to have great speakers.
Okay, you can
Great
run me through
speakers who
them
are
quickly.
Coming, Pastor John Winfred from the Love Reign Bible Church. We have Apostle J.L. Thomas all the way from Nigeria. This man came with 15 people from Nigeria. And we have Apostle Michael Dagsy. We have Engineer Jerry Andor. We have also
Dr. Hannah Tiase.
Mr. Kinsey Ajenko Hayford. We have Professor Kingsford Adabo. I think
Dr. Tristan Evans as well.
Yes, and Dr. Tristan Evans from the International Trade Council. Wonderful speakers, and we can't wait to have anyone who will be part of this. And quickly, I know my time is up, but I want to share this. You know, when we are doing some of this, embarking on some of these projects, it comes with funding. If we have enough funding, we can sit 2,000, we can sit 3,000. Every industry you find yourself about, every economy, it is about the knowledge gap. And that's why every single day, the government is out there to making sure that their information or their policies sync to the people. And you can't do that. You need a vehicle of funding. You need a vehicle of a very good resource. So if you are watching us and you want to be part of that, you want to partner us, please reach us. Reach us. My number is 0244 107 565. 0244 107 565. And we need your partnership. We need to support this. You can even encourage us. You can even partner us by prayers. We are okay with that. The point is that we want to make sure we solve Africa's problem. And Africa's problem is not going to only solve by our leaders that we trust, the presidency with them and all that. We also have to play a role. And this is what Christianpreneurs Africa Summit is every year bringing you this. It's a foundation. And if you want to support us, please do so. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Reverend David Winkert is convener of Christianpreneurs Africa. Make a date. Don't miss out on that. You want to stay with me, Rev? Thank you so much, and I wish you the best tomorrow.
Thank you.
You want to stay with me? I have a quick one with the Ghana Health Service. Let's talk about hepatitis B.
So I should type in my Momo pen.
Yes.
So you're not scamming me.
No.
MTN will not call you to request for what? Your PIN.
The fraud cases are ticking up. They're trending upwards.
I was very comfortable thinking that I was speaking to a rep from DSTV. And if it's happened to me, it can happen to anybody. Guys, these guys are not playing.
So they took the 91 cedis, wiped everything from my account, and also took MTN extra balance.
It looks like they are hypnotized, or I don't know what they tell them. Fraudsters using psychological manipulation to manipulate and to get information from you, pretending to be who they are not.
Fraudsters steal from one bank and walk into another and do the same thing. Same credentials, same Ghana card. They do it again and again. There's nothing stopping them.
We have this hypothesis we need to test. What is the relationship between digital payments and the economy? And that the survival of our economy depends on the strength of digital payments and its safety.
The digital economy, based on digital apps, technologies, is expected to grow faster than the traditional economy.
Trust is a currency. The moment we lose that trust, the trajectory that we are on towards a cashless economy is at risk.
Digital Economy Forum, the trust crisis, why fraud is holding back Ghana's digital economy. Brought to you in partnership with Haptel. It's happening on Wednesday, July 22nd at 8 p.m. live on Joy News, Joy FM, and across our social media platforms.
So I should type in my Momo pen.
Yes.
So you're not scamming me.
No.
MTN will not call you to request for your PIN.
The fraud cases are ticking up. They're trending upwards.
I was very comfortable thinking that I was speaking to a rep from DSTV. And if it's happened to me, it can happen to anybody. Guys, these guys are not playing.
So they took the 91 cedis, wiped everything from my account, and also took MTN extra balance.
It looks like they are hypnotized, or I don't know what they tell them. Fraudsters using psychological manipulation to manipulate and to get information from you, pretending to be who they are not.
Fraudsters steal from one bank and walk into another and do the same thing. Same credentials, same Ghana card. They do it again and again. There's nothing stopping them.
We have this hypothesis we need to test. What is the relationship between digital payments and the economy? And that the survival of our economy depends on the strength of digital payments and its safety.
The digital economy, based on digital apps, technologies, is expected to grow faster than the traditional economy.
Trust is a currency. The moment we lose that trust, the trajectory that we are on towards a cashless economy is at risk.
Digital Economy Forum, the trust crisis, why fraud is holding back Ghana's digital economy. Brought to you in partnership with Haptel. It's happening on Wednesday, July 22nd at 8 p.m. live on Joy News, Joy FM, and across our social media platforms.
I'm so glad that you stayed. Now, let me have your full attention because this is really important. As World Hepatitis Day is fast approaching, it's a good time to talk about viral hepatitis, which is a major public health challenge in Ghana and even around the world. It affects millions of people, and it's a leading cause of liver disease, liver cancer, and premature death. Now, joining me in studio for us to have this big conversation is Dr. Gerald Adiboka, Programs Manager, National Viral Hepatitis Control Program, Ghana Health Service. Also, Dr. Adjoa Eje in cancer. She's consultant physician and gastroenterologist, senior lecturer, University of Ghana Medical School. Docs, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me. Should I be afraid of hepatitis, no matter whatever it is? Should I be afraid of it?
Not at all.
Not at all? Okay. I've just learned another type of it, viral hepatitis. What is it?
Okay, so when we take hepatitis, mainly we're talking about a condition that affects the liver. And it comes from a Greek word made up of two, hepa meaning the liver, itis meaning inflammation. Okay. So anything that will cause inflammation of the liver, we say is hepatitis. And when we talk about viral hepatitis, it means what is causing the inflammation of the liver is from a virus. Okay. So that's how we have the term viral hepatitis.
How many types do we have?
Actually, we have hepatitis A all the way to E. Yes, A, B, C, D, E. Yes.
No way.
Yeah.
Because I've only heard the B and C, and I always wondered why B and C. Where's the A? Apparently A existed.
Yes, A existed, D exists, and then E. The A and the E usually will cause what we call acute inflammation, acute infection. So the body is able to clear it within a short while. The reason why you're hearing more about the B and C is that it causes chronic infection, meaning that it can stay with you your lifetime.
Wow.
Yes.
Is it treatable, curable, preventable?
Yes. C, if to remember, hepatitis C is curable. C for curable.
Okay.
But B is not curable, but preventable.
Okay.
All viral hepatitis are preventable.
Okay, I'll come to you, Doc. But let's go to the Ghana Health Service. Let's do some data analysis. What's the data looking like? How bad is it?
Well, I say it's not so good as compared to other diseases in Ghana. Example like HIV. We have about 3 million Ghanaians who are living with viral hepatitis B.
They know?
Yes. Some know, some do not know. Okay. Less than 1% of Ghanaians are aware of the viruses that they are infected with viral hepatitis B. That's about 9% of the prevalence is about 9%. And when we talk about chronic hepatitis C infection, we have about 500,000 people who are infected with chronic hepatitis C infection, which is about 2-3% of Ghanaians are being infected with chronic hep C infection.
Let's do the division.
Yes.
Women, children, male, who are most affected by which type of the hepatitis?
So when we talk about the male and female, usually most of the people we see in the hospital are the males. But when you look at the pregnant women, about 8% of pregnant women who go to antenatal tested for positive for viral hepatitis B. And children are less than 5%, about less than 1% are also infected with chronic hepatitis B. But in terms of the gender, more males are infected more than females.
Okay.
But, you know, the good thing is that because we are rolling out a lot of screening campaign, we are encouraging everybody to get tested.
Okay.
And that will help us to get the right data, and then people can get tested and treated.
Okay, I'll come back to what the Ghana Health Service is doing, but Doc, are there conditions that can predispose you to this? Or you can just be walking and you catch it?
No, so in terms of transmission, sometimes it may be from a pregnant woman carrying the virus. That is in the case of hepatitis B. And that pregnant woman, through labor, bringing the child out, can infect the child. And then also we have what we call horizontal transmission, where children are playing, some people have sores, others, and as they rub the sores together, it could be a source of infection. Household sharing certain things, like toothbrush, like shaving sticks, etc., can also predispose to one getting hepatitis B. The other thing that one can also acquire is through these tattoos, scarifications that we do. It also is a risk factor.
Well, if you're nursing the tattoo idea, it's just about crashing. You shall see my face.
Yes, you should be careful. And not only that, even when we go to our salons, you know, when they are using the needle, somebody may get a needle stick injury. It's not sterilized, it's used on you. It's the same way with our shaving sticks, etc., with the people. And
why is it behaving like HIV? Like why?
That's the interesting part.
Okay.
The mode of transmission is very similar to HIV. Yes. So most of the time I tell my students that they are like cousins. When one comes in, you look for the other.
Okay.
Okay, because of the shared routes of transmission. But however, when you take hepatitis and IV drug users, you see, I jab, I pass it on to you. There may be blood on it, so I'm actually giving you the drug as well as the virus. And hepatitis C is really high in people who abuse these IV drugs. Yeah.
What will make the work quite easy on Ghana Health Service?
So first, campaign, awareness campaign is the most important thing. You know, there are a lot of people who are walking around, they are not aware of their status. As I said, less than 1% of Ghanaians are aware. So you can imagine the rest of Ghanaians who are infected and they are not aware. They only come to the hospital when they see that they are not well. And that is where we now do some tests to find out that they have viral hepatitis. So awareness creation is first, and then testing, we call it the screening campaign. So every Ghanaian needs to know his or her status. And then from there, we'll move to the treatment. And then those who have issues can be sorted out or can be seen by a health worker.
Okay. I've got just 2 minutes. I'll divide it into two. Forgive me. So, Doc, common myth that even you as a doctor, when people come to the facility and they say it, you are shocked.
Yeah, people think it's a curse. That's one of the major. So when person is diagnosed with hepatitis B, you break the news and then, hey, Tofiakwa, I don't receive it. No, I'm like that. And people think that people who are sexually immoral are those who get the hepatitis, which is wrong. In our part of the world, the commonest route of transmission is an infected mother passing it on to the child. And when you acquire the hepatitis virus as a child, there's a 95% chance that you carry it for the rest of your life.
Oh, that's sad.
Whereas if an adult should first be exposed, it's just less than 5% of them will be chronic carriers.
Okay.
So the main problem is maternal transmission in our part.
That's very eye-opening for me. What are some of the symptoms a person will present to the facility that will make you want to even test for that?
So that is another thing. Most patients do not have symptoms at all.
Like they are fine.
As we sit here, we think we are fine. You go do the test and you have it. By the time you are coming in with symptoms, it means it's advanced. A complication has developed. Either you have chronic liver disease, or you've developed liver cancer, or something we call cirrhosis with abdominal distension, with jaundice, weight loss, abdominal pain. Then you have developed a complication.
Doc, I need to pick up on this conversation with you. You have my letter. So, Doc, what's the Ghana Health Service doing about this?
Yeah, so we are rolling out a national campaign across all the regions, the districts, and then hospitals and then communities. So we are encouraging every regional hospital and then other civil societies. We have the Ghana Association of Study of the Liver, and there are other societies that have been doing screening across the world, across Ghana. And what we are going to do now is that we encourage every hospital, every district directorate, and then regional health directorate to organize one. At even radio talks, walk, and then screening is very important. And then we'll be having the final hepatitis. Well, the 28th program is on the July of this 28th of this month. What we are doing is that we'll be having launching of the World Hepatitis Day. We'll be inviting dignitaries to come and then there are other activities that we'll do.
Will you screen the dignitaries?
Oh no.
When
if you want
to. So we want to create awareness starting from those who can effect change, and that is the reason why we are trying to start from there, and then we'll move into the communities. The chiefs are also important because most of the people at the local level, they will not have the opportunity to go for screening or afford. And that's why we were happy that when the free primary health care came into being, we are hoping that we use that opportunity to encourage people to go to the hospital for free screening. Viral hepatitis screening is also part of the free health care.
Okay, so I can walk to any facility and request for the screening and it will be free, or is only during this event that we can get it for free?
This event is free,
okay.
And then with the health insurance, it's also covered, and then with the free primary care that is coming, we are working on that one for them to make sure that that one is also covered.
Okay. Doc, I'll give you some few seconds to share your final words. Is there a thing called vaccination?
Yes.
Okay.
So for hepatitis B, it's a preventable disease and there are vaccines available. And if you have to go for the vaccine, you do all three. You start from day 0, 1 month, you do a second one, 6 months, you do a third one. Then if the vaccines are potent, you are covered for life.
For life. Oh,
yes.
Okay, that's why my doctor hasn't called
and
me.
then for my concluding statement, I would say that prevention is always better than cure. Somebody said in a very nice way, the provisions are better than the cures.
I agree.
So that is what we need to work on.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. It's been an interesting conversation. We've learned a lot this morning. I'm sure we'll pick up on when you're doing the awareness as well, Doc.
Right.
This morning we've been joined by Dr. John Gerard Adiboka, Programs Manager, National Viral Hepatitis Control Program, Ghana Health Service, and as well Dr. Ajwa Eje in Cancer is consultant physician and gastroenterologist, senior lecturer at University of Ghana Medical School. But before I hand over to Joy FM, happy birthday to Mahalia Na Ayele Tego, CEO of Manye Ogbo Nana Sport at Anya School Junction. Cheers to you for another trip around the sun. May God bless your new age and abundant joy, goodness, and many more blessings. Happy birthday to you, my dear. And this is from Ima, Niama, and Echa, Auntie Maggie, and Manye Okropon. I hope that you have a good birthday. Another one here. Happy birthday to Abena Santua Abwaji Echa Hunu Fiacha Doreen Ni Jalobi Aite, all of Maker's House Chapel International. Happy birthday to you. We're going to cross over to Joy 99.7 FM where my senior colleagues on standby on that important conversation about how we can really manage our poultry in this country.
So I should type in my Momo pen.
Yes.
So you're not scamming me.
No.
MTN will not call you to request for what? Your PIN.
The fraud cases are ticking up. It's trending upwards.
I was very comfortable thinking that I was speaking to a rep from DSTV. And if it's happening to me, it can happen to anybody. Guys, these guys are not playing.
So they took the 91 cedis, wiped everything from my account, and also took MTN extra balance.
It looks like they are hypnotized, or I don't know what they tell them. Fraudsters using psychological manipulation to manipulate and to get information from you, pretending to be who they are not.
Fraudsters steal from one bank and walk into another and do the same thing. Same credentials, same Ghana card. They do it again and again. There's nothing stopping them.
We have this hypothesis we need to test. what is the relationship between digital payments and the economy, and that the survival of our economy depends on the strength of digital payments and its safety.
The digital economy, based on digital apps, technologies, is expected to grow faster than the traditional economy.
Trust is a currency. The moment we lose that trust, the trajectory that we are on towards a cashless economy is at risk.
Digital Economy Forum, the trust crisis, why fraud is holding back Ghana's digital economy. Brought to you in partnership with Haptel. It's happening on Wednesday, July 22nd at 8 p.m. live on Joy News, Joy FM, and across our social media platforms.
Now the difficulty we had with some of the regions, especially in the eastern region, some of the farmers who benefited called me and said, Honorable, our beds are ready. We are not getting the market. And I said, oh, look, we can find some market for you. So we spoke to some of the processors. Some of them had to move cars from Accra to some of the regions to go and buy the best. But there are also stories that we can also share. Some also decided to kill and eat all. In fact, they were even sending me videos that, Honorable,